For a time, we wait. In the winter, when the engines rest, the desire inside mends itself, reconstructs. It begins as a small, faint voice amongst the white noise. You notice what started as a subtle twinge morphs meticulously from the back of your conscience into something larger than life. A beast you can't stop thinking about. You crave it, desire, you salivate. The hunger inside howls. Demand meets supply. The wait is over. The feast is here. The Daytona 250, right now, on Speed.
You can't win championships tonight, but you can certainly lose one. The lights are on, the intensity is jacked up. Only in NASCAR does the biggest race happen right out of the gate. A perfect night for adrenaline-filled racing. Weather is beautiful, from champions to challengers, veterans to young guns. This series has something for everyone. We're going to keep things trackside as we get ready to go racing, beginning with tonight's opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats as the Mainland High School Air Force Junior ROTC present our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Pastor Ronnie Barton of First Baptist Church in South Daytona offers tonight's invocation.
Let us pray. Our Father, we thank you for a great evening. We thank you for a time of excitement. We thank you for your love, for your blessings. But most of all, we pray for safety for each of the drivers and their pit crew. And thank you for the greatest fans of any sport. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.
Please welcome Melissa Tenbrook from Daytona Beach, Florida, as she performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
This isn't just a race, it's the chance to live out a dream and make history along the way. Win tonight and your life will forever be changed. Whose destiny intersects with Daytona's victory lane? We get one step closer to the answer when they fire the engines next on Speed.
The setup is brought to you by Camping World in Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. By DirecTV. Only DirecTV gives you dedicated driver channels so you never miss a second of your driver's race. Call 1-800-DirecTV. And by Dulce de Leche. Cheerios with a hint of caramel flavor in every wholesome Dulce de Leche has a taste the entire family will love. Welcome back to Daytona Beach, Florida, and Daytona International Speedway. If there was ever a venue that you would want to win at, In stock car racing, it is right here at Daytona. And how do you win when you come to Daytona? What kind of racing will it take to get to the front of the field and capture the trophy at the end of the night? Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, and Michael Waltrip with you once again to kick off the 2012 season. This first race, it always happens at the biggest venue, Michael. Winning at Daytona is so big.
I just can't explain it, Rick. You'll always be referred to as a Daytona champion. Doesn't matter whether you're driving a car or a truck. Getting to victory lane here in Daytona is what it's all about as a NASCAR racer. Daytona defines NASCAR. And Phil, I got to win here. How am I going to do it?
Well, you said already that you didn't have a plan last year, but I think you have to plan to be around at the end of the race. That's the key here. And you have to look at the fact that we're going to have some old school racing. We're going to have 2 wide, 3 wide racing here. We'll have a little bit of the pushing, a little bit of the tandem, but mostly it's going to be 3 wide racing, 2 wide racing, and trying to get in position towards the end of the race in order to maybe to get a little bit of a push, but you have to get to the end to get it.
Maybe 4 wide racing?
Could be. Could be.
We've seen it. And you mentioned old school racing. The slingshot is back. We talk about the pack is back. That slingshot move is back.
They did it last year.
Don't you love that? I mean, it leaves the doubt. You don't know who's going to win until the very last second. It coming off turn 4, you pull the slingshot and win at Daytona. Nothing's better.
And we have seen it come down to 3 drivers crossing the stripe at virtually the exact same time. Great finishes here at Daytona, but first, let's get the engines fired.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back tonight's Grand Marshal, President and Chief Executive Officer at Minn Kota Power Co-op, Mac McLennan, as he delivers those most famous words in motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines!
36 trucks have come to life. 36 drivers, all with the same intention, getting to victory lane at the end of this race. Let's look at our starting lineup. Miguel Paludo, Nelson Piquet Jr., both drivers from Brazil, making up row number 1.
How about Ty Dillon back in row number 2, driving the 3 truck that his brother won the championship with?
I like some of these trucks. You got Brendan Gaughan, Ron Hornaday. Those guys know how to run to the front, and watch for them to do so. And Topo Downs, only guy's ever won here more than once.
Yeah, we've got 4 former champions in the field when you add Travis Quabbel back there in row number 10 to those other 3 guys.
You have to continue to look at the names and numbers, and we'll keep you up to date on those as the race continues. But a lot of different faces with different numbers. We've got a former Daytona 500 winner and Ward Burton in the field with us tonight.
And how about Rick Crawford? Winner of that very first race on speed back in 2003, will bring up the rear of the field.
We love social media. We've already had tweets talking about what's going on here in the Camping World Truck Series. Great job, Miguel Paludo and Nelson Piquet. Congratulations. Go, go, go. I don't know how to say that in Brazilian, but I'm sure that's what was going to be said.
That would be there. Portuguese, I think.
How about Casey Kane tweeting, perfect night in Daytona, barbecue, and watch the truck race. Should be good. I think that might not be big enough of a word. It's going to be incredible. Stay with us. Welcome back. Daytona International Speedway, the site of the first race of 2012 for the Camping World Truck Series. It's NextEra Energy Resources 250. Trucks making their way around the racetrack. We talked earlier about who we thought may win this race. How about our championship spotlight and who we think will win the championship? Personally, I think the experience that James Buescher got last year is going to propel him to the championship this year.
Rick, I'm going to go with Johnny Sauter. He was 6th in his first full season, 3rd and then 2nd last year, only 6 points behind Austin Dillon. I think this is the year that Johnny Sauter gets his first NASCAR championship.
Guys, how about Ty Dillon? I mean, this is the championship team from ARCA. They moved to truck.
He's a rookie.
I know he's a rookie, but he did great in his debuts last year, ran strong. His crew chief's name's Flash, Ray. You got to have a crew chief named Flash if you're going to be a champion, don't you?
And if you go to speed.com, you can see my article about all of our picks. And in that, I picked James Buescher. But tonight, I'm going to do a little flip-flop, folks, because you got to go with Ron Hornaday. He's a 4-time champ, and I think this year it could be 5. Hermie?
Well, Ray, I like Joey Coulter. I like the way he learned how to finish these races last year, consistently consistently in the top 5 and top 10. I also like the fact that no turnover with this race team. He's got his whole team back. Krista?
My pick is Matt Crafton. He is always in the mix, and this year they have mixed things up. They've switched to Toyota, and he has a new crew chief. Look for Matt Crafton to win his first series title. Rick?
Thanks, Krista. There you have it. We have all made our predictions as far as who is going to win the race. Now you have our picks as far as who will win the championship, the big prize at the end of the year. We're about to see the green flag here at Daytona to kick off the year. Stay with us here on Speed. 36 trucks about to enter the tri-oval. The last time by before the green flag will fly on the 2012 season for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. We will ride along with a few different drivers. We have cameras on board. One of those carrying the cameras, Johnny Sauter. He will start in the 20th spot tonight.
We're going to ride along with our 1995 Truck Series champion, Mike Skinner. He will start the Pecos Home Chevrolet from the 13th spot.
How about let's go for a ride with Ron Hornaday? He's won more races than anybody. He's going to start 12th in the Anderson's Maple Syrup Chevrolet.
Another former champion in the series carrying one of our cameras, Todd Bodine, and that number 11 will start in the 10th position.
How about that gunbroker Ford of Jason White? He set on the pole here in 2010, ended up with a 4th place finish, looking to better that tonight.
How about 4th place starter Ty Dillon? I said he was going to win the championship. He's going to be riding in that number 3, the championship winning truck from a year ago. So look for good things out of this kid.
A lot of pressure on Ty Dillon's shoulders after watching his brother win the championship 1 year ago, and now in the same equipment will try to duplicate that feat.
But I think he and his brother are so close, it's got to be comforting. You know, he knows his brother's cheering for him. Go win you a championship, Ty.
I don't know if there is any pressure.
I don't think so either.
Well, let's take a look at our DirecTV race analysis for this very race, the first one of the season. 100 laps, 250 miles.
You see the purse there, the biggest purse of the year, almost $700,000. You see the pit window, about 35 to 40 laps here with these trucks.
And they give you a nice ring if you win at Daytona, too. I forgot to tell y'all about that.
We haven't even seen it.
I know.
Why is that? You got to show the bling.
I'm not a bling guy.
Well, the lights are off on the pace car. That means that when they come back by on the front stretch, they will be getting ready for the first race of the 2012 season.
And there's just nothing quite like this feeling right here, Phil. You're coming toward the green flag at the most historic track, the most popular track on the circuit, and you know it's all right there before you can go get it done.
Here are the numbers, the Camping World track description giving us the details of this racetrack.
And this racetrack is so different than it was 2 years ago before they repaved it. So smooth now. A few bumps down by the double yellow line that Michael was talking about earlier, but man, a fast racetrack. We'll see speeds upwards of 190 miles an hour in a draft.
That's right. We're going to come through this trial at 192, and it's a turn, so watch for some action to pick up there. Things get a bit crazy in the tri-oval.
You talk about crazy. The first hurdle everyone will have to overcome will be the start of this race. Everyone trying to get up through the gears. The two in front. Out of Brazil, Nelson Piquet Jr. and your pole winner, Miguel Paludo. Green flag in the air on the 2012 season.
Paulie Harakan, the 5 truck about the 5th, 6th row back, was a little bit slow on the start. Trucks went by on both sides of him.
Miguel Paludo on the bottom of the racetrack.
Miguel wasn't slow. He jumped out to a nice little cushion there over James Busher and Nelson Piquet. Those guys are trying to figure out who's going to be second.
Up to speed as they go down the backstretch. The pack working its way out of 2 and down the backstretch.
We saw Ty Dillon doing a lot of pushing in that practice, trying to learn exactly how much he could push. He finds himself in a position there where pushing is an option.
We've already gone 3 wide. Johnny Sauter, the 13 truck, makes it 3 wide on the top side.
Okay, that didn't take long, and that's tight right there, guys.
Ron Hornaday right in the center in the number 9. They're moving around.
They're dancing around, those trucks are.
Dicing, dancing across the stripe. Out in front, that is the 32 of Miguel Paludo. He leads lap number 1 from Daytona.
You remember here a year ago, we ran about 3 or 4 laps like this. It wasn't long until they got strung out single file. I don't see that happening tonight, Bill. Looks like these guys are pretty serious. 3 wide.
Jason Leffler now on the top side. He's getting past.
Look at Ty Dillon dropping back. What a run you get up the middle.
It's Mike Skinner's on board we're looking at. He's going to jump in behind Ron Hornaday. to go by that 30 truck.
Yeah, amazing.
PK Jr.
How quickly Miguel Paludo, or excuse me, Nelson Piquet Jr. in the 30 has dropped back, and now we see him move back up by that number 8 of Mike Skinner. The momentum going back and forward here at Daytona. Something we'll have to keep our eyes on as they've completed the second lap and on to lap number 3. Jason White now leading the outside line in that 23.
He's got a 2-time winner behind him, Ty Bodine, in that 11 truck for Red Horse Racing.
I sure don't want to do any bump drafting quite yet, especially not when you're 2 and 3 wide. These trucks get really sideways, a little squirrely when you try to do that. Wait till you get singled out and then try to learn how to do it.
Already into the 3rd lap, we have a huge pack up front, a medium-sized pack of about 5 trucks behind them, and then a pack that has dropped all the way to the back and 7 trucks running back there. So 3 separate packs running around this track.
Yeah, and it's because of all the action we see in the front here. They just decided maybe to distance themselves from this front pack in case something does go wrong. They can avoid a crash.
Look at that push right there. And look how that 23 truck's dancing around, but they're passing trucks doing it.
Bodine on the back bumper of the 23 of Jason White, pushes Jason White up to battle for 3rd now as the outside line is moving.
Now Todd will come back and hit Jason again and try to get him rolling again, get that momentum going.
One of the things NASCAR mandated is they could not put any type of a lubricant on the bumpers, but what they were able to do was put what they called slick tape on both the rear bumper and then the grill area, where these 2 trucks can get together and hopefully not hook up, but be able to push each other without turning one another.
Todd's doing a nice job so far of just giving Jason a gentle nudge, a little push here and there. You can see the momentum. You can see the ground they're making up, and he hasn't got against Jason and stayed there. He's just bump drafted him. He's not hooked to him right now.
Riding along with Ron Hornaday just in front of him. Todd Bodine in the 11, and right in front of Todd, that 23 of Jason White. Will Todd Bodine push Jason White to the front?
He just about has him up to Paludo. He's side by side right now with Buscher for 2nd.
James Buscher hugging that yellow line. Miguel Paludo drifts up a couple feet higher. But now the outside line making the move.
Look at the steam starting to come out of Todd's truck. That's what NASCAR did to break up these 2 truck tandems, excuse me. And you can see it's working right there. Todd's going to have to lay off of Jason White. His engine will get way too hot.
He's going to have to move out and get some air through that grill opening.
So Todd Bodine shooting a little steam off of his truck early in this race as we're just into the 5th lap. Only 4 laps complete. It's been all Miguel Paludo on that inside line, but a great battle on the outside trying to get up to him.
You can see Todd Bodine sort of laying out to the outside, Phil, getting some air into the nose of that truck. It got too hot with him, and he's having to go into a bit of defensive mode here, not able to push Jason anymore.
Remember, you have to be around at the end to have a shot at winning, and Todd Bodine, if he would have continued to stay right up behind Jason White, he wouldn't have been there. He would have burnt that engine up.
Let's head back down to pit road and talk a little bit about the grill openings with Ray Dunlap.
And Rick, what they did, they made a change. They put the grill opening right in the center. It's 12 by 6. That gives you 72 square inches. And it looked to me like every single truck had them wide open. But most of the drivers told me if you stay tucked up too long, you go from 106 degrees to 250 in just a few seconds. Once you pull back out, you can get them to cool down pretty quickly.
Still 2 by 2 as they enter turn number 1. Out in front, Miguel Paludo, James Buscher, Brad Keselowski's made his way up to 3rd. Cale Gale, Joey Coulter, your top 5.
Now look what Todd's doing here, Phil. We see the telemetry from Todd's truck. He's way out to the right side trying to push on Jason White down in the middle of the corner. Maybe trying to find the best of both worlds. A little push for Jason and a little air into that nose.
I'm not sure with that grill opening being right in the center, you see speeds upwards of 190 miles an hour. I'm not sure you can get far enough over to do any good and still get any air in that grill.
Oh, but it feels so good, doesn't it? We're going to town now. Oh, wait. We got some issues with my temperature. I got to slow back down.
Todd Bodine's going to have to keep an eye on that temperature gauge as we saw a little bit of steam early on. Let's go back trackside to Hermie Sadler.
I want to give an update on Ty Dillon. Obviously, he started up front in that black number 3 truck. Fell almost to the back of the lead pack in the first 2 laps, and he's been slowly trying to pick the right lane to get his way back to the front. He's got a lot of experience on the radio with him. Spotter Kevin Hamlin, a very experienced spotter in the Sprint Cup Series as well, trying to guide young Ty Dillon back to the front, urging him to be patient. Long way to go, but Ty Dillon trying to make up for ground he lost in the first couple laps.
See him 3 wide there. You hear Ty Dillon backing off the throttle a little bit.
And Hermie, you used a great word there, patience. I know it's difficult to talk about patience when we just mentioned 191 miles an hour, 3 wide, but at the same time, you can't win it unless you're there at the end. They stay 3 wide in this big pack.
Jason Leffler wanting to get a little racy. He's got a push from Max Gresham there right on his tailgate, and they're pushing their way toward the front, going around Ron Hornaday.
Ron's stuck in the middle. Normally, unless he has a little bit of help, that he's going to lose some ground.
Trying to side draft off of some of the trucks around him, trying to hold that position. But again, the inside line that's been hugging that yellow line has not lost their spots. Miguel Paludo, James Busher, Brad Keselowski, Cale Gale, Joey Coulter still holding on to the top 5 spots. Then it's Brendan Gaughan, Justin Lofton, Dusty Davis, Jason White, and Todd Bodine, your top 10. 8 laps in the books already, but 100 laps until we see the checker. Stay with us. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by DirecTV. Only DirecTV gives you dedicated driver channels so you never miss a second of the driver's race. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Brought to you in part by Dulce de Leche Cheerios with a hint of caramel flavor in every wholesome O. Dulce de Leche Cheerios has a taste the entire family will love. By Ford Focus. And by Camping World. Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance. Welcome back. The pack is still intact as we see the lead pack. Out in front, it's Miguel Paludo, James Busher, Brad Keselowski. They're the bottom 3, or on the bottom, top 3. Then it's Cale Gale and Joey Coulter running 4th and 5th. But that outside line continues to move. Now Jason White trying to bring the Gunbroker 23 up to the front.
You know, we were talking about Todd Bodine moving around that truck because we saw some steam coming out of it. We eavesdropped a little bit on some of his radio traffic. Let's listen in.
I'm good as long as I'm not pushing. I don't know if that's what he wants to hear. At least Jason White. Jason White was probably loving the fact that he was giving him those shoves. Again, Johnny Sauter, we've seen him on the outside of some wild 3-wide racing already. What are they talking about, Krista?
Well, Rick, when is the last time you heard Johnny Sauter saying, I'm just going to be patient? It's a new year, new resolutions, I guess. Yes, his truck is fine. He started 20th. He's running back right around in that same area right now. He said, I'm just hanging out just in case something crazy happens. Ray?
Miguel Paludo at the very front of the field. New crew chief with him this year is Mike Hillman Jr. Jr. came on the radio and said, are you wide open? Miguel said, I haven't lifted since they threw the green flag. He's got her all the way to the floor. Teammate right behind him. They're going to try to keep that thing teamed up and see if they can do a little bit of bump drafting here soon.
And if that crew chief sounds familiar, Mike Hillman Jr., that was Todd Bodine's crew chief for 2 Daytona wins and 2 Talladega wins.
Yeah, part of the championships as well.
Yeah, a couple championships.
We talked a lot last year about our young guns. There's a couple of them there. Dakota Armstrong and Max Gresham running in that lead pack. We had such a talented crop of young guys last year, and we have the same thing again in 2012.
We see Skinner giving the 9 of Ron Hornaday a little shove. Now Hornaday goes up high on the racetrack, making it 3 wide, seeing if he can use that momentum to get back up to the front.
How about our young guys I just talked about? And there's Todd Bodine, Mike Skinner, and Ron Hornaday all grouped together. Sort of the other end of the spectrum, if you will.
And a good move right there by Mike Skinner in that 8 to not move down. He has the 39 moving up to the inside of him and Ryan Sieg. So Skinner being cautious there as he works on the outside of a 3-wide situation.
One thing new for us this year is that telemetry we haven't had in the truck series before. We have it this year.
And what you're going to see is a lot of speed. Look there, 190 miles an hour on the straightaway in a pickup truck. Oh, by the way, I'm going to push this guy in front of me.
And look at the engine RPMs, up to 8,700 RPMs at 190 miles an hour.
I love the way that they go through the turns and really don't lose much speed at all.
Yeah, but
4 miles an hour.
I was doing this before. I don't like the way they're all jumping around out there. Makes you nervous when you see those trucks bouncing all over the place, but that's sort of part of the world here at Daytona. If your truck isn't bouncing around, somebody will hit you and make it bounce around.
Michael, you know this better than anyone, but that rear spoiler gives you a lot more downforce, should give you a little more handling. Obviously, you had some way to figure out how to drop the rear spoiler on the last lap and probably didn't have as good a handling there when you came for the win.
Yeah, the spoilers are an important part of this gig for sure.
And you knew that all too well.
What was he implying there?
I don't know.
There was no. I wasn't implying anything.
Oh, look, this is always trouble when you get a slow truck and these guys have to go 3 wide. They're used to run around 2 side by side, and when you got to go 3, look at all moving around. Oh, and there
right
goes.
there.
Paulie Haraka got sideways and took Jason Leffler right with him.
Dakota Armstrong, the 98 trucks into the outside wall. A lot of trucks coming down pit road to avoid that incident.
Dakota just had minor damage there.
Yep, coming out of turn number 4, Jason Leffler caught up in it in the 18. But coming out of turn number 4, a little bit loose. Early on, we saw it was the 5 of Paulie Haraka. There's the damage to that race truck.
Anytime something's different, Rick, something happens that messes up your rhythm, then you run the risk of having this happen. That's exactly what the slower truck didn't do anything wrong. He was getting up to speed right on the bottom. These guys came upon him, had to start making some evasive moves, and when you exit forward, that's not the place to be making an evasive move.
See Chris Cockerman in the 93. You see Brendan able to get by, Justin Lofton able to get by. Watch Paulie Haraka. He gets a little bit loose there even before he got to that truck.
Yeah, it looked like he maybe went up the hill because of the slower truck and then went to go back down a little bit because he didn't want to crowd Leffler, and that got him sideways. These things turn around so quickly. Paulie's not used to this stuff. He's used to racing on short tracks. This is all new to him, and that thing just hopped around on him. And unfortunately, took a guy that I thought might could have won the race tonight, and Jason Leffler with him.
Jason looked awfully good in practice yesterday, did a lot of pushing around. Here's another view. See Paulie get sideways. He makes contact with that lap truck on the inside and then forces Jason Leffler into the outside wall. Watch these trucks do such a great job of avoiding. There's Austin Dillon also going down pit road to avoid this incident.
And Dakota Armstrong was all over the place. He just barely bumped the wall. I think he's going to be just fine.
Austin Dillon was watching his brother Ty Dillon fly down pit road.
I knew I was going to make that mistake.
Watch this move. And look at Jason Leffler. Sometimes wrecks are just unavoidable. And that was okay. Watch this 98 truck of Dakota Armstrong. He's sideways. Okay, I'm going the right way again.
And there's the wall. The wall there just before the start-finish line.
That won't hurt him, though. That truck will be fine.
Coming out of turn 4, here's the incident.
Just take a look at this incident from Ty's truck. Watch him now. He's going to see the smoke and everything in front of him. The spotter's going to tell him off the throttle instantly. And he sees the racetrack blocked. He's got a perfectly wide pit road to go down.
It's a good way, good feeling when you look up ahead and there's pit road there. Watch Johnny Sauter. Let's see where he goes. You could see his teammate, Dakota Armstrong.
Come on down pit road. Reduce your speed. You're clear of the accident. Reduce your speed. You got one about 3.
The rookie overreacted, Phil. He saw that truck spinning and he jerked his truck and that spun him around. The veteran just backed off the gas and made his way down pit road. So that's a great example of somebody that's done this a while and somebody that hasn't.
And that's why Johnny's been up in points 6th and 3rd and 2nd the 3 years he's run full time in this series.
So the 5 of Paulie Haraka will make his way back around and onto pit road to the attention of his team. Stay with us.
Caution out at Daytona. Pit stops underway. Ron Hornaday said his biggest concern, making sure he remembered what truck number he's driving. He said, boys, make sure I see that number 9 sign. Hermie?
Krista, Jerry Baxter calls for 2 tires on Cale Gale's number 33. He gave up the 4th position to come to pit road. 2 tires, no adjustment. Ray?
Quite a few guys on my end went with fuel only, but get this, Miguel Paludo did right side tires and fuel and was still the first truck off of pit lane.
You see the race off of pit road, advancing 7 positions. That 8 of Mike Skinner.
See, 4 spot pickup for Joey Coulter in the 22.
NASCAR does a great job of letting the drivers know in any instance what to do. And if they were coming onto pit road like we saw a lot of the drivers do, they're not going to be penalized for speeding on pit road. They're told slow down while you're going down pit road to a cautious pace. Stay with us. More racing from Daytona here on Speed. Welcome back, Daytona International Speedway. We're under our first caution for the NextEra Energy Resources 250.
That's our first Aaron's Lucky Dog of the year.
Woohoo!
Right. The Aaron's Lucky Dog goes to Chris Cockrum.
Yeah, and they just showed Aaron's commercial. Mark said I was goofy. That's not true, is it?
Imagine that. Take a look at what just brought out the first caution flag, the 5. Keep your eye on the 5 of Pauly Haraka.
We were watching this, Michael, and it looked like he was drifting up to the outside to give the 93 truck more room, and then just grabbed the steering wheel and turned it back to the left and lost the back end.
And Phil, it happened right where that banking goes away. The track's flattening out right there. You're running 190 miles an hour, as we've seen on the telemetry. Right when the track flattened out, he tried to go to the left to get off the truck that was on the outside, and it just spun around. Watch his reaction.
There he is right there. He's going to make hard contact with Jason Leffler.
And how many times have you ever just been in a wreck that was unavoidable? Jason Leffler could do nothing there. He was just riding along and got taken out.
He absolutely did nothing wrong. It ends up with a destroyed truck.
Take another look. It comes at you very quickly. Coming out of turn number 4, as you mentioned, Mikey, the banking goes away. The 5, the back end comes around.
Look, right there when he's about to straighten out, Phil, around it goes.
Around it goes.
And we listened in on the 18 radio. This is what he had to say, what just took place.
What happened there, Chris? It's off the slower truck. We were lapping and he shot back up into us.
Well, that's not exactly what happened.
Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, I want to give an update on the 27 truck of Ward Burton. Been on pit road 3 times. A vibration in the left front. They thought at first it may be a lug nut. They came in and checked on that. He came back in a second time. They're going to give it a ride here for a couple laps to see what's going on. But something may be amiss with the 27 of Ward Burton.
Have to keep our eye on that state water heaters, number 27 of Ward Burton. See how they do. Again, driving here at Daytona because son Jeb not cleared to drive on the super speedway yet, but he'll be driving at Martinsville in the second race. Coming up on almost a quarter of this race, out in front still, it's Miguel Paludo, Joey Coulter making up row number 1 as they come back to the tri-oval. Green flag back in the air.
The top of 9 gets a good start. Gets into the back of that 22 truck, says, let's go, Bubba.
A little pushing between teammates there. James Busher in the 31 behind Miguel Paludo. Those two getting up to speed together.
Looked like Ty Bodine almost made contact with a truck on his inside for just a moment.
Wasn't the most sanitary restart, was it? Those trucks were bobbing and weaving.
After the first 3 laps at the initial start of this race, we saw the pack break into 3 separate packs. We'll see how they do now after we've had an incident that happened in the middle of the big pack.
Todd got caught in the middle. Now he's moved his way back towards the inside of the racetrack. That's the first time Todd has been on the inside since the green flag dropped.
Take a look on the right side of your screen. This is from Jason White's perspective.
Wow, Todd got sideways and went down the hill.
Yeah, that's Brad Keselowski's Ram. It looks like he might have made a little bit of contact with.
That was weird looking, wasn't it?
He really was.
2 by 2, about 8 trucks back. Let's go back to pit road and Chris Devoto.
Jason Leffler just walking out of the care center. I know no one had higher expectations for this season than you. It's just one race, but it's a big race. I saw your frustration as soon as you exited the truck.
Yeah, it's just it's too good to be true. I mean, the truck was really good. I got to thank Dollar General and Toyota, M&M's, everybody, Flexco, Kyle Busch, everybody for this opportunity. It's just truck was fast, just kind of just sitting there, and couldn't get anybody to work with me that early in the race. So that happens. I don't even know what happened. All I saw was a 5 truck coming up the track and had nowhere to go. So it's a bummer. But my next race is Rockingham, and as fast as the truck was here, there's no reason it won't be as fast in Rockingham. So I look forward to going there.
Thanks, Jason.
It's really cool that Kyle Busch Motorsports and Dollar General gives Jason this opportunity, and he only has a certain number of races, and darn, it's sad that one of them got taken away like that from him.
Ray Dunlap, how is the 17 with John King behind the wheel doing?
Well, you know, he's a new driver to this team, a 3-truck team for Red Horse this week. But as I went up and down pit road, I checked on multiple different strategies. A few guys went with fuel only, lots of right side tires. But guess what? The 7 went with 4 tires on that pit stop. And even though they're back in about 28th now, it really sets them up to have differing strategy as we go later in the race. They can come in later and get just fuel only and get some track position. Hermie?
Maybe a little bit of concern in the pit of the number 8 truck of Mike Skinner. They did not get his fuel tank full on his pit stop. They're saying he may have to short pit. They're still trying to figure out exactly how short they could be, but this could be a big turn of events for Mike Skinner.
Harvey, from where we're watching from, they might not have to pit under green. These guys are still mixing it up pretty hard and heavy out there.
Michael, I looked at our scoring monitor, and the top 9 trucks, their last lap speeds were separated by 3/100ths of a second, all 9 trucks.
Nose to tail, 1 through 9 on the bottom of the racetrack as they enter that tri-oval once again.
You can hear the difference in sound when trucks move around. Somebody's behind you, and then if he pulls out, you can hear how the truck looks almost like it starts starving for.
Not only can you hear it, when you're in the truck, you can feel it. The air will actually try to pull the truck around. You won't believe the difference it makes when you got somebody beside you or behind you.
Those of you that have been listening to NASCAR for any amount of time, you could make out what voice that was. Richard Childress was on the radio there talking about getting Ty Dillon down to the yellow line and let him ride for a while.
And that's
haven't been able to do that yet, though.
Good plan, but there's not a lot of room down there.
Ty Dillon stuck in that outside line, still in front of the bottom line. Miguel Paludo leading at Daytona. Welcome back. NextEra Energy Resources 250 presented by DirecTV here on Speed, your motorsports authority. Still out front, the 32 of Miguel Paludo. How big would it be for Miguel Paludo to win at Daytona? Well, we asked him that very question before the race.
It's hard to describe in words because it's something so big, and that means a lot, but it will be something, I think, the biggest accomplishment in my life for sure.
Michael, you've won 2 Daytona 500s. You won the truck race here a year ago. Winning at Daytona has to be the pinnacle of all of stock car racing.
It's what you live for if you're a stock car racer, is to win at Daytona. This pavement, this defines what NASCAR is all about. When Mr. France decided he was going to build this track in the 50s and put those banks up at 30-some degrees, could you imagine what people thought? You're going to do what, they said? And the first race, 3 wide at the finish line, and this place hadn't lifted since.
How about Max Gresham? Here's a young guy, not a lot of experience at all in a truck, mixing it up right in the middle of this pack.
Every lap that he runs, Phil, and nothing goes wrong, though, he gets that much smarter. He gets that much more experience. He learns more. He sees more. He's going to be more prepared to race toward the end of the race just because of what he's seeing now. Paulie Haraka, he made a bit of a mistake. He's not getting that same seat time, that same experience that Max is getting right now.
Ryan Sieg doing a nice job up there right in front of Max Gresham's number 24 truck.
Can I tell you what a terrible combination is? Bump drafting and side drafting, because when you're getting at the same time, when you're side drafting, you're right on the guy on the inside, and when you're getting bump draft, your truck's moving all over the place, and that's what they're doing right now. You can see the side drafting is every lap right on each other. You add bump drafting to that, it's a bad combination.
98 of Dakota Armstrong, a wild ride in our first incident. Krista, what are they doing with that truck?
Well, they're actually checking the crush panel. Dakota took a hard hit. He said, "We are done. I can barely drive it." That was what he said right after the initial hit, but then he was able to go back out on the track under caution. He said it was just vibrating too badly. He said it was shaking. He couldn't even hold on to it, but hold the steering wheel in his hands. So they brought it back here. They are just behind the pit wall trying to figure out if they can find that vibration, can get this truck fixed to get back out there. He needs laps. Remember, he's running for Rookie of the Year.
3 wide once again. That 39 of Ryan Sieg trying to get down to the bottom of the racetrack, and he actually forced his way down there. He was going to get down there no matter what.
I'm glad he had a hole, because he tried to get in there for about 3 different trucks and finally found him a hole.
When we went to break, Richard Childress said, get him down to the bottom. He finally made it. We went through a couple commercials and another 5 or 6 laps, but he's on the bottom finally.
Take a look here. Joey Coulter in the 22. Having a little assistance from the 09 of Travis Kvapil, and that spooked him.
Yeah, Travis got him sideways. Watch, you can see the fire out of the exhaust on the 09. You see Travis Kvapil backing off to give Joey Coulter some time to get that truck straightened up.
That's all you want right there. That's all you can stand.
They checked up behind, which was the good move. So Joey Coulter was leading that pack on the outside. He falls back just a bit now, Ray.
It's been interesting listening to them, because Joey has said, if I had a good partner, I know this truck's truck's good enough to go right to the front. They said, don't worry about that. Remember, it's survival, and if we get to the end, we'll go do that. But it's been interesting to listen to Harold Hawley, as crew chief, talking to Joey about things to do inside the truck. Number one, they've turned the electric fan on and off to see how the truck sucks up differently when it's on and off. Joey said he thinks he might have learned something.
And that's what they're doing right now, learning as much as they can what it's going to take to get to the front. Everyone pitted on lap 20. That means around 55 is when they're going to have to start thinking about pitting again. Tonight, it's the return of Car Warriors, the only show where two teams of mechanics go head-to-head in a 48-hour race to build the ultimate ride. Car Warriors returns tonight immediately following the Truck Series racing right here on Speed. That promises to be a great one this evening. Promises to be a great one in super speedway racing. Todd Bodine. Anytime you come to a racetrack like Daytona or Talladega, Todd Bodine has to be factored in, right, Ray?
Absolutely, Rick. 4 total wins, 2 of those coming here at Daytona. He's actually the only guy in this field that has won here twice in Truck Series racing. His birthday is coming up Sunday, so another big win would certainly be icing on that cake. But he has passed along some good information to his crew chief, Rick Gay. He said on this run, he's actually 25% less throttle than in the first run. What that allows them to do is to do a little bit of ciphering and figure out their fuel mileage differently than what they got in those first 20 laps.
And the reason is he's on the inside, which is where the fast pack is right now.
Speaking of fast pack, take a look at what's about to happen here.
We saw this earlier.
A slower truck that the pack is catching. This time the slower truck is Ward Burton in that 27. It looks like they've been having some issues.
Looks like he's going to be off turn 4, though, before the pack gets him. That's a bonus. You don't want to be caught right where that other slow truck was caught. Ward's down to the bottom.
Still have to negotiate him through the trial over here, and that's a turn.
Your teammates clear back to the bottom.
Pack working around as soon as they clear that 27. You see the trucks trying to dive back to the yellow line. 2 and 3 wide as they go into 1 and 2.
And Ward really wants to stay up with them. He doesn't want to let that whole pack go by.
Hand up, back it down easy.
Caution comes out. Debris on the racetrack slows us down for the second time tonight.
Okay, my heart rate goes up when that happens. I just wanted to see those guys all get around Ward and get clear of him, and right in the middle of it, the caution fell. So that was a break for the guys that hadn't quite got around Ward yet, because it's just really tough when you catch a truck going that much faster and try to go 3 wide.
Crew chiefs now will go to work, scratch their head. What will we do? What plans do we want to make here on this stop? You see a little bit of debris on the apron. There's some debris on the racetrack that NASCAR has said they did not want out on the track when the guys are driving around here at 190 plus miles an hour.
Big break for Ward Burton. Not only did they not crash, he's going to get the Aaron's lucky dog, get back on the lead lap. So timely caution for Ward Burton, your Aaron's lucky dog.
We'll be back with pit stops after this. Welcome back to Daytona. Pit road is open. The field being led by the 32 of Miguel Paludo. They make their way onto pit road. We go to Chris Devona.
One of the rookies, Max Gresham, running extremely well right now. He had been a little hot earlier in this race. Those problems are gone. The plan, 1 can of fuel only for the number 24 and this rookie driver. Hermie?
This causes a big break for Mike Skinner. The number 8 truck did not get full of fuel last time. This time they will take 4 tires and get him full and back on the racetrack. Ray?
Fuel only on my end. I haven't seen any tires going over the wall. Everybody will plug them in here. We'll see. Miguel Paludo has been out front most of this race. He will be the first one off pit road. Looks like a good run for Buscher. He'll go out second.
Paludo holds serve.
Good for Brendan Gaughan. Good for Timothy Peters. Those two both making up spots. Timothy Peters the most at 5 spots on pit road. Well, the fans have decided to take a little break. They'll sit down under this caution, but they'll be right back on their feet when the green flag comes back out. Welcome back under the lights from Daytona International Speedway. It's race number 1 for the Camping World Truck Series, the NextEra Energy Resources 250, presented by DirecTV. Pit stops just taking place, and one driver having a little issue on pit road, the 8 of Mike Skinner. Take a look at the right rear here.
Trouble getting that tire changed. I think some of the lug nuts maybe fall off, and the Tire changer has to stick around and put them back on. That NASCAR official is looking over his shoulder. He knows he's got to have them all on there, so
he will not let that truck leave without all the lug nuts, or he'll make it come back in, one of the two.
Skinner gets out a little bit further back than he would want, but at the same time there's a lot of laps still to go.
Yeah, he's seen all this before. He knows what he's got to do, so he doesn't want any more mistakes. You know, you can make mistakes in the first half of the race and get away with it here at Daytona, Phil, but not anymore. Got to tighten up.
We like when you fans at home are able to be a part of our broadcast. We're keeping an eye on the social media. How about Elliott Sadler? He's watching at home with his son Wyatt. Take a look at that. We're watching from the bus.
Fast race car.
Wyatt yelling, fast race car. We also had a tweet earlier from Austin Dillon, Ty's brother. Austin was asked by our former Truck Series colleague, Adam Alexander, hey, Austin, you missed being a part of the Camping World Truck Series tonight, and Austin responded right back, yes, sir.
Well, we miss you being out there, but it sure is fun seeing your little brother. This is really good for the sport. The 3 truck racing for a championship with Papa's other grandson in there battling. This is good stuff. Of course, Austin has moved up to the Nationwide Series, and Ty's taking this ride over. What an amazing season Ty had last year in the ARCA Series, winning the championship and having just an incredible year.
You know, Michael, we talked about it yesterday during practice as well as today during qualifying. I think Ty has more stock car experience as he comes into his rookie year in the Truck Series than Austin did 2 years ago.
But I guarantee he's seeing stuff here tonight he ain't never seen before. So he'll be way more experienced after tonight.
Take a look at this. Chris Fontaine has taken that hose and he's sticking it outside so he gets a little more air to him. It's a warm night here in Central Florida.
Yeah, Chris has always been able to forge his way to the front in these plate races, so here at Daytona and Talladega he's able to get there. Be interesting to see if he gets cooled off a little bit, if he can make a run at them tonight.
Still have 32 trucks on the lead lap right now, almost halfway, just 5 laps from halfway.
Temperature, one of the big topics coming into the Daytona races. Can the engines stay cool? Well, some of the drivers are trying to stay cool as well. Cooler heads normally prevail.
Look at some of the mix of the trucks you have there in the back. There's the watermelon ride, and Matt Crafton, a championship contender, and Chris Fontaine, all those guys toward the back of the pack. But I don't figure they'll stay there all night, Phil.
I don't think so either. You know, Matt Crafton had that strategy a couple years ago, stayed in the back the whole night, end up with a top 5 finish.
Coming into the trial, but once again, it's Miguel Paludo. This time James Busher on his outside. Green flag back in the air. We're back underway.
He doesn't have his teammate right behind him. Now he has Jason White behind him.
Cale Gale didn't get off to a very good start there. Trucks charging it around him. Oh, look at the run from the outside.
This time James Busher able to get in front of his teammate, and so now Miguel Paludo not leading at Daytona. He will push his teammate down the backstretch.
Rennie Gaughan helped James Busher get that lead, and then James Busher jumped down in front of Miguel Paludo, and it hangs Brendan out in the middle.
Brendan Gaughan finds a spot now on the bottom of the racetrack.
Brendan got a great start, and he paid for it. He lost 8 or 10 spots because of the start he got.
Riding along with Hornaday in front of this outside line is the 33 of Cale Gale. He's leading the outside line. We'll see if they can make a move toward the front now, as we've got a change up front with James Busher leading at Daytona. It's Busher, Paludo, Jason White, Brad Keselowski holding on to the 4th spot, and then Justin Lofton in the 5th position.
Brad Keselowski's been very quiet. He stayed in the top 5 from the time they dropped the green flag. Anywhere from about 3rd to 5th, you know he's going to be a factor.
We heard Richard Childress say on the radio, get Ty Dillon to the bottom, let him ride. Well, that's exactly what these top 5, 6 drivers have been doing. They've been on that yellow line. They've been riding around the racetrack.
And you know what they're doing also, Rick? They're looking over that right shoulder at what's going on the outside, knowing that line is being able to form up and push its way toward the front, knowing that eventually, as things start to wind down toward the end, they're going to get all the way to the front from the outside.
You guys remember how just a moment ago I said Cale Gale was on the outside line leading that pack?
He's in the middle now.
He just got shuffled back through the middle. Now he's dropped back about 20 positions.
We also talked earlier, Rick, about there being 3 distinct packs here at Daytona. Not anymore. Every lap that goes by, people know they better stay closer to the front. Now we have 1 big pack.
And 1 big pack working its way around this racetrack, anywhere from 182 to 191 miles an hour. Side by side, just inches separating these trucks as they work around the 2.5-mile super speedway.
A couple former champions are lined up now on the outside. Travis Quappa in the 09, Ron Hornaday in the 9, trying to make something happen on the outside.
Watch the ground these guys make. A couple of guys with the experience that Hornaday and Quappo have. They'll go right up that outside line and make their way toward the front. Oh, caution.
Caution once again at the halfway point. And so the trucks slow back down. Debris on the racetrack, this time hearing potentially coming off of the 98. Dakota Armstrong had problems in the first caution, got caught up in the incident, didn't have any contact with any of the drivers, but he did hit the outside wall, so you see a little bit of damage on the right side of that. But again, that happened way back on lap 19. Under our third caution, we'll take a quick break and be right back to Daytona. Coverage of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on Speed by DirecTV. Only DirecTV gives you dedicated driver channels, so you never miss a second of your driver's race. Call 1-800-DirecTV. Brought to you in part by Just for Men Mustache and Beard. Keep living the dream. By Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. Goodyear, more driven. And by Toyota, moving forward. We have passed the halfway point here at Daytona, and we're seeing a few trucks as they're getting ready to come back to the green flag, come onto pit road. Looks like they're going to be topping off with fuel. Let's go back to pit road and Chris Devoda.
Johnny Sauter's coming in. They took 4 tires on their last stop. They're coming in to top off for fuel, which is appropriate. He's carrying a sticker for Bryson's Fuel, supporting childhood cancer. Hermie?
Cale Gale's taking 4 tires, Krista, filling up with fuel and a small air pressure adjustment, a little bit free at the beginning of this run. Ray?
Down on my end, Hermie, I only saw 1 truck come in here, and the reason most people stayed out, they really need to get to lap 67 to be in the window to go the distance in this race. So I think most of the front runners are looking for at least 15 more laps in this race before they come in and pit for the final time.
But Phil, I like what some of these guys have done here. Ty Dillon came in, got 4 tires. We saw the choice by some teams. Cale Gale, get 4 tires. I'm done with tires now. I'm just going to give me some gas in a bit and have that track position that I desperately need at the end.
This time it'll be James Busher who'll lead the field back to the green flag. We'll see that when we return to Daytona. Welcome back. The field will begin lining up 2 by 2 for this restart. Out in front of the field, it's James Busher, Miguel Paludo, Jason White, Brad Keselowski, and Justin Lofton. They're your top 5. When James Busher comes to the green flag, he may have a strategy. He and his crew chief were talking about it on the radio. We listened in.
Make sure he gets down and leaves the 19 out there. We can't slow down too much to do it. Just like we did the last time. It'll work.
Just like we did the last time.
I think that means when we get down to turn 1, maybe Miguel Paludo will take the lead back. Those 2 trucks on the front row don't want to run side by side and have the chance of Paludo getting shuffled back. They want to be teammates at the front. I believe that's the strategy like won me the race here a year ago. Maybe Busher's going to drag a little bit on the start, let Paludo pull ahead and dive back to the bottom.
He said just like we did last time, and that's exactly what happened last time, just reverse order.
These guys are sneaky, Phil.
They are sneaky.
I wonder if
we're listening.
I wonder if Brad Kez knows what's getting ready to happen right in front of him.
Still following some of you. Following us on Twitter. How about this? Delana Harvick says, well, this is a first. Kevin Harvick and I are watching the truck race on Speed from the bus. That's right. KHI no longer involved in the Camping World Truck Series.
He looks plumb comfy.
He does.
I think Delana's taken that picture, by the way. Chris Devoda, how are you?
Well, I'm doing okay. We're enjoying this truck race tonight, and so is Travis Quapple. Remember, he is a former series champion. They have a lot of experience in that Robbie Benton Racing truck. Robbie Benton Racing making their truck series debut. Of course, that organization knows the frustration and agonization of not making the Daytona 500. They attempted all 3 races here, but Travis Quapple trying to do them right tonight.
You know, Travis Quapple has 2 runner-up finishes here in the Camping World Truck Series.
And we saw that first one.
Yes, we did.
Back in 2003, how close he came to winning this race, but it was Rick Crawford who got to the checkered flag first, but only by about 2 feet.
When you lose at Daytona, an inch is like a mile. You're still second. This place is all about winning, and that's what every one of these guys have on their mind. It'll be interesting to see if they're able to pull off this restart like we heard them talking about.
We've had one incident where trucks got into each other. That brought out our first caution. We've had 2 other cautions, though, both for debris. Now it's time for the green flag to go back in the air. We're back underway.
Look at all the fans standing up for this restart here at Daytona. There goes the move. Watch Paludo dive to the bottom.
Will Keselowski continue, though, and try to keep that momentum up so he opens a spot for himself?
He's going to try to, but I don't think it's going to work unless he gets a little help from behind by Timothy Peters. He needs to get there quick.
Timothy Peters coming and closing the gap quickly between he and Brad Keselowski as they're working their way on that outside line. We'll see if that will work for those 2 to go 2 by 2 on the outside.
So far, Daytona is Miguel Paludo and James Buscher's personal little playground. They're having everything just like they want it.
We saw Timothy Peters give that 19 to Brad Keselowski a little bit of a shove.
But tick, 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 Rick. Every lap that goes by, the more desperate those cats on the outside are going to become. You can see them already 2 wide, back about the 7th or 8th spot.
See those trucks moving around. That was Grant Enfinger.
Miguel Paludo back in front of the field. James Buscher in second. Jason White, Justin Lofton, and Max Gresham now in the 5th spot.
Brad Keselowski still on the outside, has Timothy Peters, Brendan Gaughan behind him, trying to make something happen.
See Brendan Gaughan side drafting in that number 2 down on the inside.
Yeah, went
up the middle too.
As soon as Brendan wanted his spot back.
It looks as though Brendan was able to make the pass on that 17 of Timothy Peters. He actually passed him on the inside. Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of middle passes in this race yet.
We're getting ready to see a whole lot of passes in a lot of different places we haven't seen yet, Rick.
Brendan Gaughan now on the back bumper of that 19 of Brad Keselowski. Can they make the outside line move?
Everybody knows they have to make another pit stop. Even the guys that came in on this most recent caution still have to make one more pit stop.
We saw some guys topping off at the end of that pit stop, maybe thinking that they can stretch it, but that would be a long ways to go. Right.
Brendan Gaughan came on the radio moments ago and he said, guys, I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is my truck is awesome in the draft. It absolutely pulls up and I love it. But the bad news is it doesn't push very well. And on the last couple laps, that could be a big problem.
He needs to work it out where he gets pushed then.
Yeah.
If you're only smart enough to figure all that out, right, Phil?
In a split second.
He's given a good push there to Brad Keselowski, and you can see the ground they make.
Making up a lot of ground right now. You see the gap they put on Timothy Peters, who is the truck behind Brendan, up on the top right of your screen.
First time we've seen Parker Kligerman starting to wander up toward the front. I know he'd like to get up there behind his truck owner, Brad Keselowski. Look at there. Is that 3 wide?
Well, Mike Skinner was thinking about going through the middle. That's Grant Enfinger on the outside, Clay Greenfield on the inside.
Skinner got that run. We talk about the slingshot move coming back. Skinner was able to get the run, but nowhere to go with it.
There's Rick Crawford coming up the inside of the Super Seal Chevrolet.
If there ever is a gap up the middle and you got a pusher, that's a good way to go. You can make ground up the middle, but you got to have some help.
Keselowski still on the outside, leading that outside line. Behind him, Brendan Gaughan in the 2. Still on the bottom of the racetrack out in front of this field, Miguel Paludo, James Buscher, Jason White, Justin Lofton, and Max Gresham. Take a look at Todd Bodine's telemetry.
Saw Brad Keselowski's side drafting off Ron Hornaday.
Did you see how well that worked? Ron was about to go by and Brad just grabbed a little air off that right rear and slowed Ron right down, but Brendan can't quite get to the back of Brad. There was a hole there, but Brad stayed dedicated to Brendan, didn't take that hole.
One of the trucks we haven't talked a lot about, but looks as though he's figured out on the inside line he can ride a little bit, is that 6 of Justin Lofton. How's the team doing down there, Hermie?
Well, Rick, we want to give a call to Justin Lofton and this race team. Running a very veteran-like race tonight is this 6 truck. They started 15th and just methodically worked their way, staying on the inside, not taking any chances. When somebody moves to the high side, they feel the spot, getting spot after spot. On pit road, they got 2 tires one time. Other than that, it's been fuel only for this race team. Very calm on the radio, and they're feeling very good about their chances for a solid finish tonight.
This is a big year for Eddie Sharp Racing. He really bit the bullet and bought out a couple of the teams that Kevin Harvick had. Now he has Justin Lofton, he has Mike Skinner in the truck, as well as Cale Gale. A good, strong 3-truck team with ECR engines looking for some big things this season.
What about this Grant Enfinger cat? He's also done a nice job of filling up some holes, giving some good pushes, and making his way toward the front. We've seen him more toward the front earlier, and now he's working his way back up there. Got squeezed out. They put him in the middle. Remember, fell all the way to the back, and now he's rebounding, rallying.
Riding along with Mike Skinner, currently running in the 23rd position. Hearing through radio chatter, the 82 of Grant Enfinger could have a right front issue right now.
It's getting on down here, boys. Starting to make some decisions. One more pit stop. Run this thing to the finish.
We're getting close now to being in that window. Maybe just a handful of laps, maybe 2 or 3 laps, and I think most people would be comfortable coming in and being done if the caution were to come out.
Nelson Piquet Jr. flew to the back as soon as they threw the green flag, and he hadn't been able to get his way to the front yet, and he's trying 3 wide on the outside there to do so.
How about Brennan going through the middle there? And
oh, sideways. Got to crash in the front.
33 of Cale Gale into the wall. It looks as though he collected the 8 of Mike Skinner as well. Damage to both of those trucks.
Big damage.
Also involved, the 07 of TJ Duke. He slides in front of another truck, gets caught up.
Talked about how hard it is sometimes to get through that tri-oval, and that's exactly what happened there. Those guys somehow got sideways.
Those teammates, Cale Gale and Mike Skinner, we were just talking about Eddie Sharp Racing.
That's his worst nightmare, isn't it, Phil?
Sure is.
Matt Crafton down on the apron. From that side didn't look bad.
Well, from that side it does.
Yeah, a lot of damage to TJ Duke's truck.
Mike Skinner. Look at the front of that race truck.
Yeah.
Mike talked about how the community here in Daytona rallied around him, gave him the opportunity, he and Angie the opportunity to run this race, and to have it all taken away in a crash when he ran so strong all night long.
See if we can take a look at what happens here.
Oh, Enfinger moves up a little bit. Is that right?
Looked like was that Enfinger or was that Clay Greenfield? And the other red truck, number 68.
One of the red truck moved up, and Cale Gale was there. It bounced Cale sideways. Got some trucks coming to pit roads.
Take another look. Real time as they're coming into the tri-oval. It's the 7.
It's the 7 of John King. Another one of the red trucks that moved up the racetrack into Cale Gale.
Look at Matt Crafton sliding sideways. Trucks crashing behind him. Three wide is tough in the tri-oval, even when people don't move around, Phil. And that was an example of it. The 7 truck came up. Matt Crafton run over the orange cone.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has any damage. I think the orange cone is the only thing he ran into.
Sorry about that orange cone.
That was Clay Greenfield right behind that 7 truck of John King. Tough break for Eddie Sharp Racing, losing 2 of his 3 trucks.
Look at that. He just moved way up.
Hold your line. Come on through here.
Nothing Cale Gale could have done there. There's no way for him to predict. Look, they're 3 wide anyway, and watch. That 7 truck comes right up.
Do you think he was maybe trying to get to the middle? I don't know why he would. He was doing a great job staying on the bottom.
It's unfortunate for this guy. See Mike there.
Mike's got his helmet off. He's saying, push me. Get me back into the garage.
Good to see Cale out of that truck as well. We'll be all year. Cale Gale in that Ream Chevrolet.
4th caution has come out. 3 trucks caught up in this most recent incident. In the middle, Cale Gale, the most wild ride. Camping World Truck Series travels to a lot of different places. We want to take a look. Our best Western travel time, Daytona Beach, Florida. Not only can you experience the greatness of NASCAR racing at Daytona International Speedway, how about the birthplace of NASCAR, the Streamline Hotel right there on the beach. And golf fans, the LPGA tournament here, as well as this is where land speed records used to be set, right here on the beaches of Daytona.
Ponce de Leon Lighthouse.
Spectacular area here.
And then look at the crowd that's gathered to watch these trucks right here tonight in Daytona. The Camping World Truck Series is one of the most anticipated races of Speed Weeks, and it never disappoints. There's always a lot of action and great racing.
And Mikey, the infield's jam full.
I love that, Phil.
Great crowd in the stands, and the infield is completely full for the weekend.
They're continuing to clean up debris on the racetrack in the tri-oval. That is the reason for bringing the field down on pit road. They have not opened pit road yet, so the field is following the pace car down pit road, but they're not able to stop and make any adjustments or add fuel, change tires to the trucks. How about the Aaron's Lucky Dog going to Polly Haraka? All that damage happened back on lap 19.
Yeah, Aaron's doesn't care how bad your credit is. They don't care how many laps you're down. They're just going to give you one back.
He's 8 laps down.
We don't care. He's 7 down. That's better than 8, right?
Absolutely.
Giving him a lap back, courtesy of Aaron's.
And it's pretty well used up, isn't it, Phil?
Sure is, but that's looking for good things out of that team. Richie Waters, who is a good friend of ours, won so many races with Kyle Busch and Eric Almirola. He's now a team owner. He owns this number 5 truck for Paulie Harrock, and I'll tell you, that team will show some stuff here when we get on into the season.
Richie's just your typical old racer guy, isn't he?
He sure is.
He'll take a truck and tune it up for you, and Paulie's proven behind the wheel, especially on the short tracks where he's used to racing, that he can get the job done as well.
Talk about how tough a guy is. Well, Richie Waters just had back surgery not too long ago. He's still a little bit stiff. He is a warrior right there in the fact that he can do about anything with a truck and get it to victory lane. How about the fact that Car Warriors will premiere its 2012 season right after the truck race? There's some Warriors, 2 teams going at it, just 48 hours to create the ultimate ride. Again, coming up right after the Truck Series race, it is a new episode of Car Warriors. The field working their way around. Again, pit road has not been opened yet, so we haven't seen anyone make their way onto pit road to have any adjustments or fuel or tires done to their vehicle.
And what this is doing, this is going to put everybody in their pit window. I think everyone will be able to make it from when they make their next pit stop here. Still going to be closed this time. It'll be at least another lap.
They continue to clean up the racetrack. It's the 4th caution. Once again happening just past the tri-oval here at Daytona International Speedway.
Truck racing at Daytona. This could be the final stops of the night. Max Gresham is a rookie. He's driving like a veteran. Only, Hermie.
Justin Lawson choosing track position over tires. Fuel only, no adjustments for the 6.
Top of your screen, you see Miguel Paludo. He is going to roll out, but a couple of other trucks rolling through. James Busher beats him first, and another truck got by him. Not sure who that was.
Well, the 68
he must have not
field decided to make his way right back out onto the racetrack very quickly.
Yeah, I think he must have missed his pit, Rick, and got back out on the other end. So he'll have to come back, I'm sure.
You know, we have enough of this race left that these guys needed to top it off. They needed to make sure they got all the fuel in it. So I doubt if Clay was able to get stopped in this pit.
Take a look at this close call.
Whoa, it's a big old wide pit road.
Contact made.
Oh, and you see the debris flying there, so there's some damage to the 23 truck of Jason White. He's been up in that top 5 all night long, and look what's going to happen. Maybe he's just going to yell at 22.
That's what he's doing, but there may be a little contact on the 22 as well.
Yeah, but did it damage that right front fender, Phil? Watch the debris fly here when they hit each other.
Look at how hard he hit the left rear of the 22 truck.
And what Jason's upset about,
there was room to the outside.
Yeah, Joey should have been way over to the right. There was plenty of room. You got to get out to the right when you're leaving, and Joey didn't do that.
There's a damage right there on the 23 truck.
How will that affect Jason White's night? We'll find out when we come back. Welcome back, field 2x2. How about our Just for Men mustache and beard keep your edge tonight? It's been all about the 22 trying to keep his edge. Here's a wild ride. Being pushed by that 09.
Gets sideways here. Has to chase that truck all the way up the hill.
That'll get your attention at 190, right?
And here he is leaving pit road. Jason White pulling out of his pit. Joey didn't give him much room. They make a little bit of contact.
Look all the room that Joey had out to the right. He could have swung out and avoided that.
Mustache and beard, keep your edge. Field coming back into the tri-oval. Green flag back in the air. James Busher on the bottom of the racetrack.
We're going to have the same strategy now. James Busher going to back off and let Paludo get down in front of him. Travis Quapple was able to get to the bottom.
Uh-oh, there went a hitch in the plan. They thought Quapple would push Paludo up there, and that didn't happen. Now their little playground they had at the front, that's all done.
Timothy Peters now is going to jump to the outside of Paluto, putting him in the middle.
Far outside is that 17 of Timothy Peters, now moving for position once again. It looks like it's the final 2 or 3 laps of racing, but it's not. We still have 32 laps to go. James Busher leading that inside line, but here comes the outside line with momentum.
Man, what momentum that outside line has. That's Nelson Piquet Jr. Remember, he was just riding around the back here not too long ago. Now Turner Motorsports are lined up 1, 2, 3 on the inside.
Jason White on the outside trying to hold position. He's side drafting.
That looked like everything was going to fall to pieces for Turner Motorsports, and it turned out to be the best shape they've been in since they threw the green flag.
1, 2, 3 on the inside. Now Jason White sideways. He had help from the 9 of Ron Hornaday, but catches it.
Ron was trying to push him, trying to help him, turned him sideways. Ron backed off, gave him some room.
Tick, 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 guys. The more laps that wind down, the harder those pushes are going to get.
Here comes Hornaday once again on the back bumper of that 23 of Jason White.
See, Hornaday let him go when he got to the corner that time, and Jason was defending against turning into the corner. Jason didn't want to turn. He was afraid he would get spun out. Went straight up the hill.
Ron decided to back off as they went into turn 3. Here comes the pack once again into the tri-oval. Now Ron Hornaday dropping back on that outside line.
This is making me nervous, y'all. I know what's coming up. I know what's laying ahead. These guys aren't going to run in the single file line on the bottom of the racetrack. They're just going to keep pushing and shoving, and something's going to go wrong.
We've got 30 laps to go here. I don't think anybody wants to be sitting back in 15th or 20th.
Can't win from there, Phil. This is Daytona. You got to win. That's what you're here for.
I don't think we've talked enough about how impressive Turner Motorsports has been to start off the season. They got the top 3 spots in qualifying. Right now they're running top 3, and they have led all green flag laps. Turner Motorsports has been out front for every green flag lap here at Daytona.
There's some pushing going to go on here.
Well, we talk about a plan early in the race, Rick. Well, that's a great plan. If you can put all 3 trucks in the front and leave them there, I love that.
Veterans on the outside. Will that experience work for them? And then you throw in Ty Dillon.
They can't keep doing that.
Todd Bodine trying to help Ty Dillon, but getting him a little bit loose with every push.
At least the vision's a little bit better in these trucks. Those cabs are so big, you're able to look through the back window, through the windshield, and see what's out in front of the guy that you're trying to push.
Now Ty Dillon moves out. Looks as though he's going to leave the 23 to hang, but the line stays behind Jason White, and that puts Ty Dillon now on the outside looking in.
He just didn't have any help. If they would have gone with him, they would have hung the truck in the middle.
They decided to, Todd Bodine decided to go with
Jason White.
Jason White, which is a good move for Todd. Got him a little bit closer to the front.
Here's Johnny Sauter riding along with Johnny. He's right behind that 11 of Todd Bodine, the Good Sam Toyota.
Max Gresham down on the bottom of the racetrack in the 24. Now we go back down trackside to Chris Devoto.
Well, one of the things we love about the Truck Series is the mix of veterans and rookies, but sometimes those rookies can bite the veterans. Did I hear you say you can't teach racing and I don't have time to school them all?
No. What I said is you can't teach patience, and you know, you can't teach people how to drive race cars. They're obviously great race car drivers, and what happened there, you know, I'm not going to sit here and blame Cale for that. I mean, I wish he would have kind of fell in behind us there and rode with us. I don't think he realized we were running half throttle. We were just kind of riding around there, and most of the veterans were running half throttle, and these guys, they were bonsaiing and doing stuff. That just takes time, and I understand why all those veterans used to be mad at me all the time when I first came along.
A former series champ, Mike Skinner.
Thanks, Krista. Obviously disappointed, not the way he wanted to start 2012 in the garage before the checkered flag flies. Now look again, that outside line led by Jason White, and the gunbroker.com 23 has help from the 11 of Todd Bodine as they try to work by the 2 of Brendan Gaughan, and the 31 of James Busher trying to close in on that trio of Turner Motorsports trucks that are up in front of this field.
They've gained some ground by getting together. Todd's been trying to push Jason a little bit. They've got up beside the Turner Motorsports triumvirate, but they're not able to do anything with it.
Look at the telemetry for Todd Bodine. 187, 88. When they go into the turns, slows down just a bit, but still hard on the throttle.
And plus, you got to remember, Phil, Todd's trying not only to manage how hard he runs into the back of Jason when he gives him a push, he's also trying to manage that temperature. Doesn't want to get the thing overheating here. Keep it as cool as we can until we get down to the last few laps.
How about the last lap that they went by? Flying around this racetrack, the fastest laps we've seen from the top 4 trucks. All of them just over 47-second laps.
About 15 of the trucks right now ran their fastest lap of the race that last lap.
Chris Devoto, we heard from a disappointed Mike Skinner. How about the other side of the story with Cale Gale?
Well, Mike Skinner was definitely hot when he got out of the truck, but then he also said that he doesn't really blame Cale Gale because he's been there before. Did you have a talk with Mike, and what did he say to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of them things, you know. We got behind a little bit on our fuel window there, and we come in and top back off trying to get back on some track position, and I don't know what happened. We were right there in the middle of 3, obviously, and the bottom line moved a little bit, moved the air through the tri-oval. These trucks is really tricky through the tri-oval, and I got loose, and Mike was on the outside there and got us. I hate it because both of our trucks were really good, and wanted to show what we had at Daytona. That's what we was all here to do, but I trying to be patient. I was to the point right there. I'm like, you know, do I need to ride? Kind of wait it out. And unfortunately, we were involved. Bad day for our Ream Chevrolet, but we'll go to Martinsville and see if we can do a little better.
Thanks, Cale.
You know,
the final laps here, things are really heating up, Michael.
Yeah, you know, and if I'm Todd Bodine, I want Jason White to keep that truck down to the left a little bit more. He goes in the corner and flares up, you lose all your momentum. We talked about side drafting. It's key if you're ever going to get to the front. You got to be right down on those trucks on the left. It's risky, but the way Jason goes in the corner and goes way up the hill, that's losing them all their ground they're making up on the straightaways.
And you got to gain a foot at a time. Just use that side draft. Just try to gain a couple feet every corner, and then by the time, you know, in about 4 laps, you'll have a truck length.
And Jason just doesn't keep it hard enough to the left.
Ray Dunlap.
I know that Michael's just seeing that happen, but Todd actually said it on the radio. He said, please relay to the 23 that you cannot exit so high. Every time he does that, he breaks my momentum.
And you see Todd, he's anticipating now. He's going up high because he knows that that's where Jason's going. And look who fills the hole. Todd is shucked. Yep. Johnny Sauter right up the middle. Watch Todd drop now.
Todd gets thrown to the outside and back now. It's the way you saw Ron Hornaday move up into that spot, as well as Johnny Sauter in the 13.
And that was just, Todd was a victim of what Jason had been doing, flaring up. Todd went to go with him, and Jason didn't go that way.
23 laps of racing to go from Daytona. Stay with us. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is presented on speed by DirecTV. Only DirecTV gives you dedicated driver channels so you never miss a second of your driver's race. Call 1-800-DIRECTV. Brought to you in part by Coors Light. A sport this hot needs a beer this cold. Frost brewed Coors Light. The world's most refreshing beer and the official beer of NASCAR. By Napa Know-How. Get the right part the first time. And by Camping World and Good Sam. Everything for the RV lifestyle, including RVs, accessories, warranties, insurance, and roadside assistance.
I think, Phil, message delivered from Todd Bodine's spotter to Jason's spotter to say, keep her squeezed over there, bud. We got a side draft because Jason's really turned up the heat on the inside line. He keeps it squeezed over to the left now. And look, they're up beside the Turner trucks again.
Yep, that's about as far as he's gotten since this restart was up about right here beside of James Busher.
Still a little bit higher than I'd like him if I want to get there, but
things are going to heat up.
Oh, they're heated up, Rick. I'm about to have
18 laps to go as they cross the stripe. Here comes the outside line. Battling for second through the tri-oval. Still out front. It's Nelson Piquet Jr. That time by Jason White was scored in the second position. The outside line is moving.
They've got a good tight draft. Johnny Sauter right in behind that 23 of Jason White. Ron Hornaday right behind him.
Just keep working that bear down the back stretch. You're coming to 17 to go. He's going to push you here.
That was Jason White's radio.
Those guys are right there, Phil.
Yeah, we could hear Johnny Sauter. He was flat on the floor. Didn't quite get to the rear bumper quick enough, as quick as he wanted to.
They'll get squeezed up there in a minute. It's a good run here off turn 4.
Look at this pack coming right at us into the tri-oval. 17 laps of racing to go. That's Paulie Haraka in the 5 on the outside. He's trying to stay out of the way. The 13 of Johnny Sauter battling for the 3rd spot now, Krista.
Remember, I did an earlier report saying Johnny Sauter trying to learn patience early in the race. That patience is paying off. Right now, he said he's holding it wide open, or at least trying to. He restarted 15th, has moved all the way up into the top 10. Top 5 currently running 4th. He's talking about running with Jason White. He says, get outside. Here I come.
They're dead even right now for the lead.
Here comes Todd Bodine on the outside 2, making it 3 wide back there, about 6 rows back of 2 by 2. But side by side, coming out of turn number 2, around goes the 32 and hard into the wall. Miguel Paludo hard into the wall coming out of turn number 4.
Very reminiscent of Danica's accident in the duel.
Caution comes out for the 5th time. Miguel Paludo running in the top 3. Slides coming out of turn number 4, and then a head-in collision with the inside wall. And what a great sign to see that window net go down, as the safety crew will get to him immediately.
Wonder if he got a little bit of nudge from behind from his teammate James Busher. Everyone was trying so hard on the inside to keep that outside line from coming. Let's see if we see any contact here.
He's the second car on the second truck on the inside line.
Wow, maybe he let off the. Maybe he made an evasive action there because of PK Jr.
Wow,
what an
impact.
How violent that was.
That truck weighs 3,700 pounds, and it flies up in the air like that and catches on fire, and yet.
And we saw how quickly Miguel Paludo had put the window net down, was taking his helmet off. Amazing.
I think he got in the back of Nelson Piquet Jr. and when he did, that slowed his momentum, and that's, I think, James Busher got into him. Watch this now.
Look.
It's hard to see. You can see right there.
You could see Piquet get a little bit sideways. That's real-time speed right there.
But I don't know if those trucks make high. I know Piquet got sideways, and then all of a sudden Paludo gets sideways, and these trucks handle well enough. It's hard to understand how this could have happened.
Watch how close now Paludo gets to Piquet.
I think he just made I think the leader just got loose, and Paludo just made an evasive, a bit of a quick move, and he lost his truck maybe.
I think there was contact. Let's see.
Riding along with Ron Hornaday now.
Watch the leader get sideways.
You're right. I don't think there was any contact from front or behind.
And I think Miguel just said, oh no, where's he going? And you remember earlier when Paulie Haraka right there off turn 4 where the track flattens out. You're going very fast there. The banking goes away and the trucks are light there. The back end is light. He makes a move because he sees his teammate a little bit sideways, and into the inside wall he goes.
That truck spins 360 degrees in the air before coming back down on its wheels. And how about this? Miguel Paludo climbing out of that truck and will wave to the fans, walk to the ambulance after such an amazingly hard hit to the inside wall.
Makes you want to go hug NASCAR, Tony George, whoever all came up with these safer barriers, Dr. Sicking.
Yeah, folks at the University of Nebraska using a lot of their technology.
Could you even imagine hitting that without that safer barrier there?
University of Nebraska was one of the front runners in guardrail technology that you see on the highways, and NASCAR went to them about the safer barriers, and that really is what made Miguel Paludo able to walk to the ambulance after getting out of that truck, right?
James Busher came on driving that AccuDoc Chevrolet. He said, I did not touch him. Make sure he understands that. He said the weird part was it looked like the rear wheels came clear up off the ground, and he said I had 1.5 feet between him. So it was very strange whatever happened to that truck. Hermie?
Yeah, Ray, Nelson Piquet Jr.'s crew chief Chris Carrier is letting Nelson know that he was inquiring about his teammate Miguel and what had happened, if there was anything that he could learn from what happened to Miguel towards the end of this race. And Chris Carrier said, hey, there was no contact. You did nothing wrong. It looked like the 32 maybe made an evasive move and maybe turned the wheel too much and got himself out of shape. But these guys are really comforting Nelson Piquet about what happened with Miguel, also telling him that on this restart, his teammate Busher should start behind him, and they're trying to formulate a plan for this restart.
Could there have been a little something on the track there, Phil? Maybe a little moisture? For some reason, the lead 2 trucks just out of control.
Doesn't look like there's anything on the racetrack, but you never know.
Miguel Paludo, hard hits out of that truck and into the ambulance. Welcome back. Under 15 laps of racing to go in the NextEra Energy Resources 250 presented by DirecTV. Look at the damage, the left front damage to the 93 of Chris Cockrum. He wasn't even close to the accident that just took place with Miguel Paludo, but we want to show you how all of that damage happened.
Watch Miguel here now. The second truck back on the inside. He's going to go make hard contact with the inside wall.
Flying through the air.
And watch all the debris. You see there's the radiator coming out of the truck. Watch this now. Watch that truck right there. That the yellow splitter and the yellow spoiler. And here's all the debris right in there. Boom.
Tore the front off of that truck.
I mean, when you hit the wall and parts go flying that far, it just gives you an idea of what kind of impact we're talking about.
Very violent. We see the 93 now of Chris Cockrum on pit road. They go to work trying to check out what they can do to the left front. Not a lot now, as everything just was shredded off of that left front.
The pit road is just now opened for the first time since the accident.
NASCAR officials and the track officials here doing a phenomenal job of fixing that wall very quickly. Joey Chitwood and his crew here for Daytona International Speedway put on a great show.
Chris Cockrum's truck remains on the lead lap. If they can effect repairs, get him back out. We're getting close to 10 laps to go. Right now being shown 12 to go.
Following some people on Twitter. Here's some of the comments. Speed watching in Brazil. Thanks for watching us. Go Paludo and PK Jr. Well, we're sorry Paludo is going to be out of this one. How about Kevin Harvick? Wow, what a big hit. Glad he's okay. David Gilliland also chiming in on Twitter. Thank God for safer barriers. Isn't that the truth? Regan Smith as well. Very lucky to race on tracks with safer barriers. Thank you to all who were a part in making and implementing them.
Yeah, Phil, you and I raced against guys that paid the sacrifice from hitting those walls and weren't able to walk away, and it just makes my heart smile that we can race now and run into things like that and be around next week to race again.
And just look at the seat. Look at that carbon fiber seat that Ty Dillon has there. The seat technology has come so far in the last 10 years or so, as well as there's an aluminum seat, but that's SFI approved for Johnny Sauter right there. The helmets have come such a long way. And how about the Hans devices?
We didn't know.
I would not have wanted to hit that wall. Even the safer barrier Miguel just hit without a Hans device on.
Guys, we talked a lot about patience, being there at the end of the race with a potential to win. Johnny Sauter has been talking about that on his radio. We listened in.
Doesn't matter now because we're going to be committed to the bottom. I think if that didn't happen, we could have had a shot at winning this race. But now we're going to be on the bottom no matter what. Whatever, it just goes out the window.
I wouldn't think that yet. There's going to be a lot of stuff happens in these next 10 laps, Rick.
It just goes out the window. The field now going back to 2x2 as they work their way through 1 and 2.
You don't think they're having a party at Red Rocks tonight, do you, with Jason White leading this race? Oh, me.
How about first NASCAR Camping World Truck Series career wins coming at Daytona International Speedway? Robert Presley back in 2002, and our own Michael Waltrip getting his first Truck Series win in 2011. You joined the 22 others that have won in all 3 of the top 3 NASCAR series. Let's go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, we've talked so many times about James Buescher being right on the heels of getting his first win, running second or third in so many races. Well, he just said on the radio, I think I want to be second in this race when we get to turn 3, even on the white flag lap. I don't think the guy out front can win it. He said, I'm going to fall right in behind the 30. Hopefully we'll be 1 and 2. And I learned something in the shootout the other night about the move I'm going to make. But he said, whoever's out front is a sitting duck.
He has a lot of confidence that he can control all of that, because it seems like if he could do that, he would be able to control chaos.
I'm going to have a fit over here.
Lights are off on the pace car. It will make the hard left turn onto pit road. 2 by 2 once again. Jason White, Nelson Piquet Jr. making up row number 1. The field back into the tri-oval. White, Piquet Jr., Sauter, James Buescher, Hornaday. Green flag back in the air. 10 laps of racing to go.
Pair of teammates on the outside, and they might as well be teammates on the inside.
Oh, yeah.
Sauter and White are committed to one another at this point.
I think Johnny Sauter is looking at Jason White as his teammate right now.
Got Ron Hornaday shoved in behind him.
There's going to be a lot more pushing going on here.
A big run for Jason White on the restart. That now will allow the two that were working together on the outside to have the momentum. Can they get by Jason White? Down the back stretch they go. Nope. The race continues for the lead.
I think Jason White's going to get that push just in time, Rick, to keep his nose on the inside of Piquet Jr. 3 wide.
3 wide, and out goes James Buescher. He gets hung out, and now he will fall back. That's actually the 30 of Nelson Piquet Jr. James Buescher still trying to hold on to that outside line and make it work.
Got Brendan Gaughan pushing James Buescher real hard there, trying to make up some ground on that inside line. And Jason White may be out too far right now.
Yeah, but they don't have any choice but to go right to his bumper, Phil. They can't get to the outside of him. There isn't room, so Johnny Sauter just closes that gap, closes right back in on Jason White's tailgate. Look at that push Hornaday is giving to Sauter.
And they are pushing now, Hornaday and Sauter.
See Hornaday's brakes flowing there. That just shows you how these guys manage the gaps between those trucks. You got to be on the brakes, on the gas, playing every game you got, playing every hand you got.
Side by side, Buescher coming out of turn number 4. White on the inside, Buescher on the outside, racing for the lead. This time by 8 laps of racing to go from Daytona.
It looks like the start of the race, 2 by 2.
They ain't gonna make it, Phil. It's too tense, too much time to go, too close, too tight.
Too much pushing going on.
And the 2 of Brendan Gaughan, right behind the 31 of James Buescher on the outside, trying to make that outside line run. Side drafting and bump drafting. You talked about those 2 things don't mix.
And we've got a healthy dose of it right now.
Jason White holding his line on the inside, trying to make that truck as wide as possible so that outside line can't get by.
See, Ron Hornaday has to be careful pushing Johnny Sauter. He can't push him into Jason White.
And that's why his brakes are going. How about Daytona needing brakes? Who would have thought it? But Ron Hornaday's all over the brakes, managing.
You and the 13 are clear.
How about John King right now running 4th in line on the inside in front of his teammate, Todd Bodine?
Todd Bodine was relegated all the way to the back of that lead pack when he got shucked out of the groove. But now he's fought his way up toward the top 5.
Another one drifting back, that yellow truck of Matt Crafton in the 88. He is on the outside of 3 wide at the back of this pack.
He's back there with Ty Dillon. It's
dicing and dancing down the backstretch, trying to find position, trying to find an open lane. 3 wide as they go into turn number 3.
Got Hornaday and the 2 of Brendan Gaughan hooked up now.
Oh, sliding. The 29 is going to go around as well as the 81. David Starr goes to the inside.
Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake.
We saw Parker Kligerman in the
damage, not too bad.
29 sliding early in this one. The caution will come out once again, the 6th time tonight. Also involved Ross Chastain in the 08, as well as Brian Silas in that 99.
I just didn't see how we could get to the end without having something like this happen.
There was no way. Now what do we do at the front? Jason White's leading. His pusher is going to be on the outside. I think Johnny Sauter is now in trouble. I think John King closes right back up to the back of Jason White, and John King is good enough to push Jason. I think Johnny's in trouble.
Parker Kligerman, left front damage on that 29. The 81 of David Starr also went around. He's going to have some damage.
If our scoring monitor is correct, Johnny Sauter's going to have Ron Hornaday behind him. He knows how to push. He pushed for the entire race at Talladega last October.
When the caution came out, we had 6 laps of racing to go.
Looked like Dusty Davis came down to the middle. Parker Kligerman on the 29 had committed to the middle, and then Dusty Davis moved down the hill.
Look at the job Ty Dillon does, barely squeaking by Brian Silas.
Rick Crawford back there as well in the 73, sneaking through that incident. Here, watch the 3 of Ty Dillon in the middle.
I don't think Parker Kligerman had any idea Dusty Davis was going to make that move. And watch Ty Dillon, barely misses Kligerman, barely misses Silas.
An incredible job.
How close Was it for Ty Dillon? Let's ride along and see.
Down to Bill, clear high, clear high. Bottom lane, middle lane's rolling here. 4 wide ahead of you. Be easy, be easy.
One,
check up, check up, check up.
two.
Come on, watch out. Get down, get down, get down, get down. Check up, check up. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
We missed 3 trucks there, Phil.
That sounded like Billy O'Day, Kevin Harvick's spotter spot for Ty.
He sounded like an auctioneer there for a while. Check up, check up, check up. Low, low, low.
But we heard that Kevin Hamlin was spotting one of RCR's spotters.
So Ty Dillon, a close call, but still a truck without scratches on it yet. Chris Savoda.
From the pole to the care center, that was the trip for Brazil's Miguel Paludo. I think some of those pieces on your car flew all the way to Brazil. Have you ever suffered a hit that hard?
No, it was a hard hit for sure. I lost my breath. But, you know, all in all, it was a good day for us. Start from the pole, lead a lot of laps. Just got loose, too wide up there. I was getting loose throughout the run, and too wide. I just got it stable. I couldn't hold it. You know, so proud of my guys, proud of Turner Motorsports. We're running 1, 2, 3 up there, and we have 21 races left. We're gonna work harder for those races, and I'm sure we're gonna win races, some races this year.
We're glad you're okay. Thank you.
Rick, you know, we saw Nelson Piquet Jr. get out of shape a little bit there, and I wonder if maybe just lifting off the throttle a little bit turned Miguel Paludo around.
Lifting off the throttle and moving that steering wheel to the left. You know, it flattens out there like we saw earlier with Pauly Haraka, and he just got away from the trucks. Trucks get loose off the turn sometimes, and that's what happened. Circumstances.
Race, yeah, I tell you what, this race you've got to have a lot of guts to be able to capitalize and reach the glory at the end of this race. The Ram Guts and Glory want to take a look at some of the guts and glory that we've seen already. Miguel Paludo in the 32, able to talk to him after he walked out of the care center is amazing. Said that hit knocked the wind out of him. We're thankful that that's all that happened. Inside of 4 laps of racing to go, we go back trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Guys, we've had 4 times in this race where we had a last lap pass, and if you remember back to 2010, what a great finish. Timothy Peters down the backstretch went around Todd Bodine. Well, right now, Todd Bodine's in the 11, but how about John King, brand new to Red Horse Racing? He's in that 7 truck, but he's driving the very same truck that Peters used to get that win. Chassis 140 went to victory lane, and John is in that truck. Todd Bodine's going to line up right behind him. And all the folks from the 23 team are saying we need to team up, 2 Red Horse trucks and 1 gun broker, and we can hold them off.
Thank you, Ray. Todd Bodine running in the top 5 once again when we come to a super speedway racetrack where drafting is so important.
Looks like it's going to be about a green-white checker, Phil, and man, I like Ron Hornaday pushing Johnny Sauter, but Jason White's proved to have a really fast truck tonight. So
still a lot of tweets coming in. Elliott Sadler tweets, great job, Ty Dillon. Way to get through there.
Did a nice job.
How about his brother, Austin Dillon? Wow, that was a good move by, well, my brother, Ty Dillon. And wait a minute, Mark Martin? I didn't even know he had a Twitter account.
I didn't know
you got him started on it, didn't you?
I didn't even know he's still up. That's pretty cool.
He looked like a veteran. Let's take another look. Riding along with Ty Dillon.
Bottom lane, middle lane's rolling here.
Listen to him work the throttle.
4 wide ahead of you. Be easy, be easy. Check up, check up, check up. Come on, watch out. Get down, get down, get down, get down. Check up, check up. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
He used every option he had there. He was on the brakes a little bit. He got back on the gas. Great job by that young man.
Yeah, that was really the guy in the seat. Has to have that feel. We did hear the spotter giving him direction, but things happen so quickly that you can't really listen to your spotter and do exactly what you're doing. It's the guy behind the wheel ultimately that makes those decisions.
It's such good instincts by Ty Dillon. Been taught well, had a great season last year in the ARCA Racing series we talked about. Been racing down here for a week on dirt.
I bet he saw a bunch of stuff that looked like that about 100 miles an hour over the dirt track.
I guarantee you.
190 get your attention a little bit more when they start spinning around.
They're continuing to clean up the racetrack. So the next time by, we're going to see 2 to go which, if I do my math correctly, we're going to have a green-white checker.
We are. Overtime.
Yes.
Overtime in NASCAR.
Aaron's lucky dog goes once again to Paulie Haraka. So he will get another lap back.
They've just been giving them all to Paulie, haven't they?
Yeah, Paulie needs them. He had a rough night.
They've been doing a lot of work to that 5 truck. It was involved in the first incident on lap 19. And so Paulie Haraka will get a lap back, but that will put him still 6 laps down after he does get that lap back.
You know, just looking at our scoring monitor, we've talked about Jason White and Johnny Sauter, John King doing such a great job. But how about just outside the top 10? We have Ryan Sieg right now running 11th, Clay Greenfield running 12th, having terrific runs.
And we've got to look at it. I know it's the first race of the season, but how about guys who have never won in the Camping World Truck Series in the top 10? You got Jason White. You've got John King. We've got Joey Coulter up there. Justin Lofton is up there. Never won a race in the Camping World Truck Series, running in the top 10. We've said it so many times. If you're in it, you can win it. And right now, they are really in the middle of it.
This young man here has never been in this position before, leading a race at Daytona. His destiny, he knows exactly what he has to do. Perfect gear shifts, run that yellow line, and hope the heck that he gets the push he needs from John King. I wouldn't try to get too big of a start if I was Jason. I might lag off a little bit so that I get John King right on that tailgate.
I'm going to be waving at him. I'm going to say, I'm going now. You come with me.
I talk about these guys trying to get their first win. How about the guy who has 51 wins, the most experienced driver probably in the field, Krista?
We're talking about Ron Hornaday, of course. He will work with Johnny Sauter, but right now Hornaday's issue is fuel. They're telling him to save under caution.
Jason White was shutting his engine off earlier, too, in coasting. So all these guys are just making sure, probably if there's another green-white checkered, which is not out of the question, that they'll have enough gas to get there. Like you said, Phil, let's just, if I'm Jason, I just want to get an average start. I don't want to try to jump out there too far.
We talk about these guys and their inexperience at this racetrack. How about John King? We were able to ask him about his first experience here at Daytona. This is what he had to say.
Oh, man, this is unreal. It's I always come here as a kid. It's neat to finally be here, be able to drive. It's unreal, especially if they're in the middle of a practice session. You hear the cars go by. You're like, what was that? But it's pretty awesome to drive in through the tunnel and see this whole deal. It's so big.
Maybe nothing bigger than if he was able to get in front here at the end of this race.
I bet you Mark Martin's glad he stayed up now. This is big. you got such a variety of people at the front, like you mentioned, 51-time winner Ron Hornaday, John King, Jason White, who's been working his rear end off to try to get to victory lane in one of these truck races, and Johnny Sauter raced for a championship last year. He came up second. He don't want to be second again, not at Daytona.
And remember, Jason White's driving a Ford. It's been a while since we've seen a Ford in victory lane in the Camping World Truck Series.
Can Jason White do it for the Blue Oval Group? Or will it be another Toyota that makes it back to victory lane?
Or does John King get a little overzealous and start pushing a little bit too hard on Jason and get him out of whack? That's something else Jason's got to consider. He's got a cat behind him that's going to be on the gas and doesn't really have a whole lot of experience at this.
We see John King down on the apron. Smart move by the young man, because the pickup is in the right rear corner of the fuel tank. So he's down on the apron making sure that that pickup is getting all the fuel it can get before they come to this restart.
Just remember, he's got his teammate lined up behind him and Todd.
That's Jason White's radio.
A lot of stuff for Jason to consider here.
Pace car, hard left turn. Field in the hands of Jason White, coming into the tri-oval. Green flag back in the air. Green-white checkered for the trucks to start off 2012.
How about Mr. Restart, Ron Hornaday? We know he knows when to go, and he's got a hold to Johnny Sauter right now, and he's going to push Johnny Sauter ahead of Jason White.
We know how Ron Hornaday knows how to push. He pushed Mike Walsh to the win at Talladega. Jason White's fighting back on the bottom.
Those two are locked up on the high side. Can Johnny Sauter move down? He does. He moves in front of Jason White. He'll take the top spot now as they go down the backstretch. Less than 2 laps to go at Daytona.
If I'm Jason White, I'd get a hold of Johnny Sauter here and try to push him home. Temperatures won't matter anymore. He can shove him all the way to the checkered.
We heard James Busher say earlier, I don't want to be leading when we come down to the final lap. I want to be second. I think that's the best place to be.
How about Rick Crawford going up through the middle?
They're not going to make it.
Contact and into the wall. The 19 goes around. That's Brad Keselowski. Flying through the trial, but once again, as the caution comes out, they did not receive the white flag. We will have another green-white checker.
Who was running second? Who was running
Johnny
third?
Sauter was leading when the caution came out. Ron Hornaday actually beat him to the line, but Johnny Sauter was running ahead of Ron Hornaday when the caution came out.
The question is, who was second? Who was third? How are they going to line up on this restart? And NASCAR will use cameras to figure out where to put them. They'll use the scoring loops. So right now, we don't really know what the lineup is for the restart.
Right now, they're going to use the scoring loops to reset them. They do use the cameras on the very last lap to determine positions after the race is won. They're going to use those loops. Look at all the damage to Rick Crawford. He was making that move up to the front. We also saw a lot of damage to the 24 of Max Gresham.
Yeah, the 19 of Brad Keselowski. That's the first truck I saw sideways was a 19 of Brad Keselowski. You see, Brad, there's a 19 there. He's pushing the 31 of Busher. There's Clay Greenfield.
Clay Greenfield just turns him around.
Gets him into this left rear quarter panel, turns him right in front of Rick Crawford. Then they catch Max Gresham up against the outside wall.
Guys, now fuel is going to become a real concern if these guys were about to run out a minute ago.
Ty Dillon does an excellent job. Again, watch Ty Dillon.
Clear to the middle behind the 73, outside now, bottom of 3. Bottom of 3, hold on, you got crash in front of you, check up, check up, check up.
Got in the back of Ryan Sieg a little bit.
Come on, stay back.
But kept that truck straight. That's the important thing.
Could be some real damage to the grill of that truck, though. Looks like it's all right, Phil, as he drives off.
Yeah.
Once again, a green-white checker from Daytona.
Once again, we don't have a whole lot of fuel in these front trucks.
They pitted back on lap number 66. We're overtime now. And yes, we're going to have another double foul restart.
Well, and I think they're going to make it this time. I didn't feel too good about that time.
Riding along with Jay White. Take a look at this run that the 13 of Johnny Sauter had.
Watch him. He sticks with Hornaday. He's with Hornaday. But then when he sees that Jason White's going to make some ground on Hornaday, Johnny says, I'm sorry, Ron.
Outside.
Yep.
I got to protect that bottom.
And they came on hook, too.
Broke apart on the top.
Dusty Davis in the 15 is going to have some work done to his truck. Well, they don't even want to take a break. The band's on their feet during this caution.
In 5 weeks, the Camping World Truck Series goes short track racing as it visits the tiny paperclip, Martinsville Speedway. A new season is underway, and the grandfather clock is up for grabs once again. Whose time will it be in 2012? Tune in to find out. Chris Devoto hosts the setup starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, followed by flag-to-flag coverage. Only on Speed.
From the super speedway to the short track. That's right, Martinsville, our second stop for the Camping World Truck Series. The guy out front, the 23 of Jason White. What's happening with him, Ray?
Very close on fuel. His new crew chief, Doug George, has been saying, save me every little bit you can. We go green, white, checkered here. Hopefully this will be it. But if we get another one, some of these guys could run out of gas.
You know what happened on the last restart? Mr. Restart, Ron Hornaday, was able to push Johnny Sauter to the lead. Now, Jason White is going to have a very fast truck, is going to have Ron behind him. Johnny Sauter has John King. John doesn't really do this a lot.
Second attempt at a green-white checker. Green flag back in the air on the inside. Johnny Sauter on the outside. Jason White. Side by side as they go to one.
See if Ron can get there.
Ron's needing to push right now for himself from Brendan Gaughan.
Which line will go? The inside line. They've been hugging the yellow line all race long. Johnny Sauter now has the preferred position. Right behind him, John King has never run a Truck Series race at Daytona. He's running second now with under 2 laps of racing to go.
Remember, James Butcher said the leader is going to be a sitting duck. Will they get back to the start-finish line?
And will John King have enough experience to know how to get by Johnny Sauter if he has that opportunity? 3 wide coming through turn number 4.
Hornaday just didn't get a start that time, Phil.
Sure didn't.
He's fallen all the way back outside the top 10.
Oh, and around goes Johnny Sauter. John King got in the back of him, and Sauter goes into the wall. He'll collect his teammate, Matt Crafton, as they come to the start-finish line. We will have another restart. They did not receive the white flag before Sauter got around and into the wall.
Depends on when the white flag got thrown.
Displayed. We see hard damage on the 81 of David Starr.
John King.
Brendan Gaughan's South Point Chevrolet with a tremendous amount of damage.
John King, Todd Bodine, Timothy Peters, Joey Coulter, Justin Lofton. They're your top 5. Look at your race leader. Obviously frustrated, had a chance to win here at Daytona.
I talked about,
you said it, he doesn't do this a lot, hasn't been here before.
We talked about when he was going to push Jason White. You know, you got to be worried about John King.
Yellow did come out before the white. Look at the damage to the 82. That's Grant Enfinger. He has smoke coming out from under that truck. Take another look.
Will NASCAR do anything with John King?
Was Todd Bodine pushing John King and push him into Johnny Sauter?
Was Johnny Sauter moving up to try to block John King? Who knows what all happened there?
Look at all the trucks that got collected.
It looked like John King was going to the outside of Johnny. No, he just got a hose of his back end from the wrong angle.
Yeah.
And turned him sideways. Todd had rooted his way down to the bottom of the racetrack, and there's 2 Thor Sport trucks clobbering each other. The last thing a owner wants to see is his trucks running into each other.
A lot of damage, a lot of parked trucks right at the exit of the tri-oval. NASCAR is going to red flag the race. That means they're going to take the time, stop all of the trucks just out of turn number 4 and clean this up. A lot of trucks involved in this most recent incident.
And how about Todd Bodine emerges with the lead?
And look who slipped through another one. Ty Dillon. He makes another great move down on the bottom of the racetrack to miss all that mess.
Attrition becoming a big factor in the possibility of winning this race.
He just made a mistake from the backside of Johnny Sauter and turned him around. Inexperience, just
turned us.
Take a look at our flag person up here. The white flag and then the yellow came out. They did not come to the start-finish line to receive the white flag. The yellow came out before.
That's some pretty fancy flagging there.
Very quick.
Was.
Had the white one going, but had to get the yellow one out instead.
I'm not sure. There might have been a little bit of contact from behind from the 11 of Todd Bodine into John King.
Yeah, I think you're right, Phil. It looked as though Todd Bodine maybe gave John King a little shove. He then moved up and really didn't know what to do. I'm sure that was a situation where, do I hit the 13? Do I try to save this truck? And it happened so quickly.
John King was out to the right side of Johnny Sauter. There wasn't really a whole lot of a reason to be there. You want to block that yellow line and stay low, but maybe Todd did get into the back of John.
So again, they've stopped the trucks just at the entrance of pit road in between turn 4 and the tri-oval. The red flag has come out. They will go to work on this racetrack, getting all of the trucks off of the racetrack as well as cleaning up the debris. We talk a lot about that 7 of John King, potentially the inexperience. This is what he had to say about what just happened with him and Johnny Sauter.
Golly, I mean, I flat freaking wrecked him.
That's a lot of weight to have on your shoulders when you make a mistake. Same thing happened to me on Thursday in the 150. I messed up, and you feel like you've let everybody down, and at least there wasn't anybody else involved in my accident. It was just on me. In that case there, look at the melee that resulted in John King making contact with the back of Johnny Sauter, our leader. But maybe we can look closer. I don't think Todd was into the back of John King, but
and John may not even realize that Todd was in the back of him if he was.
I don't know.
They're so close there. It's really hard to tell.
You see both John King in the 7 and Todd Bodine in the 11. Both got a little bit sideways.
You see Todd Dillon missing another wreck when a truck from the outside made some evasive moves and got into the side of that 3 truck.
See Nelson Piquet Jr., the 30 truck around.
Hey, there's my truck I won with last year. It's tore all to pieces.
You know, guys, and what we have here now with our last attempt at a green-white checker, Red Horse Racing, 1, 2, 3.
We started out with Turner Motorsports 1, 2, 3, and we said we didn't think that would last all night long. We didn't even know Red Horse Racing was in the race early in the going, and now it's going to come down to those guys.
And we've seen before where Timothy Peters and Todd Bodine have been together going down the backstretch inside of a lap to go. Timothy Peters got Bodine a little loose, went on to win the race, right along with the 3 of Ty Dillon.
Watch this move he makes. They're crashing again. I'm going to go low. I'm all right.
Get to the bottom, get to the bottom. Come on, come on, stay in it, stay in it, stay in it. Clear high, clear high, clear.
You heard the contact into the left side of his truck. Grant Enfinger moved from the high side to the inside and clobbered. Oh, man, that's such a dejected feeling. He had the white flag right in front of him.
Yeah, Crew Chief Joe Shear cannot believe it.
But did you hear what his first comment was? Are you okay, man?
Yeah.
So again, under a red flag condition, we've completed 104 of what was scheduled to go 100 laps. We will have one more attempt at a green-white checker. What happens is we have 3 attempts at a green-white checker. We've already had 2. The final one is coming up, and immediately following the interview in victory lane of whoever makes it there, it will be Car Warriors. Again, 2 teams of mechanics coming together for 48 hours to build the ultimate ride. That's Car Warriors. It is coming up immediately following the conclusion of this race. Again, a red flag situation. 15 different trucks involved in the last 3 cautions.
What do we talk about the clock ticking and time winding down and how the desperation, the level of commitment was going to go up a lot, and it has.
You know, we saw a promo for our next race at Martinsville, and I was thinking while we were watching that promo, there'll be almost as much beating and banging at Martinsville as we're going to have here at Daytona.
With half the speed, right?
Yeah, half the speed, maybe.
Where are you going, Rick?
I'm standing up once again. I know it's going to get intense again.
Looks like you're having a fit too.
Well, Ron Hornaday sitting in his truck waiting for the final 2 laps of racing. We are waiting as well because we're under a red flag condition. They continue to clean the racetrack. When they get it cleaned, we go back green.
Only one driver has multiple Truck Series wins at Daytona. Todd Bodine was able to hold off a late charge from Kyle Busch and Johnny Benson in 2008 to claim his first Daytona victory. The following year, Bodine returned to Daytona to defend his title. Kyle Busch again finished second, and Bodine became the Truck Series' first repeat winner at Daytona.
And now Todd Bodine behind the wheel of a new truck with a new team, but in a very familiar position, leading the field at Daytona. He will restart in the #1 spot. Timothy Peters, his teammate, scored second.
He's surrounded by teammates. He's got one beside him and one behind him.
One behind him kind of got in a bind a minute ago, though.
Sure did.
How about Matt Kenseth? Good thing there is only 3 green-white checkers. They would run out of trucks. Mike Davis said, if I'm ever stuck in a minefield, please grant me the good fortune of being stuck with Ty Dillon. Talking about how well that young man has been able to avoid all of the incidents that have taken place tonight on this racetrack.
We got a good shot of Ty's truck sitting on the racetrack during our commercial break, and I'm not sure that right front tire may not be down on that truck.
They might have to bring him on to pit road and take a look. Let's go back to pit road and Ray Dunlap first.
Hey, Rick, I was standing down in Todd Bodine's pit, and the NASCAR official came over to talk to Rick Gay, who is Todd's crew chief, and he said, I just need you to know that the 7 is actually the leader, not the 11. He said, what? What are you talking about? He said, when the yellow came out, the 7 was the leader. So apparently NASCAR has taken a look at some video. So what the pylon shows and what our scoring shows may not be the way they actually restart.
We're in overtime, man. I want to look at video.
Yeah.
This restart's going to have a
huge bearing on the outcome of this thing.
Take another look. We see how quickly the yellow comes out. You can watch the colors change on top of the flag stand as well. There's the yellow right there.
Well, if you go by video,
Todd's clearly in the lead.
But if you go by scoring loops, I'm sure it was John King.
Might have been John King.
So And I think
scoring loops is what we use prior to trying to determine the finishing order of the race.
Yeah. So John King catches a break here. He's going to be your leader, but what kind of break is that? He's going to have one of his teammates right behind him, Phil.
Yep.
Doesn't have to worry about trying to push anybody. PK Jr. in a very fast truck maybe will be behind Todd Bodine. Is that right?
There is that right front tire that we saw of Ty Dillon's that is down.
We're back under a yellow flag condition now. They brought the red flag back in. Yellow flag is out. So that's why they're able to move on the racetrack and go to work on this number 3 truck, as well as the other trucks that need some assistance.
PK Jr. come to pit road. It looks like Joey Coulter will be lined up behind Todd Bodine.
Here's a look from Ty Dillon's truck.
Good to push hard here. Got a big crash ahead of you. Check up, check up, check up. Get to the bottom, get to the bottom. Come on, come on. Stay in it. Stay in it, stay in it. Clear.
Did you hear that chunk into the side of his truck? He missed another crash. Grant wasn't able to miss Ty, though.
They're making sure that that fender is not going to rub against the tire.
You know, we were talking about the scoring loops and how they're going to put John King back in the lead. We were so close to the start-finish line because you know that last scoring loop was well back of that.
Yeah, probably before they come into the tri-oval.
Yeah.
We were looking at Nelson Piquet Jr.'s number 30 truck on pit road. Again, Car Warriors, that's coming up next. Following the final laps of this wild Camping World Truck Series race. John King in front of the field in his first ever Daytona Truck Series race.
Remember about, feels like a day or so ago, when Jason White looked like he had this thing won? He doesn't anymore.
Well, it's not over yet either.
Guess what? There goes another lucky dog. Looks like for Paulie Haraka getting another one back.
When they come back by, they will receive the 1 to go signal. One more attempt at a green-white checkered finish. If for some reason prior to the white flag coming out the yellow comes out, they will be frozen in their position, and that will be the finishing order of this race. There has been more communication on the radio. Let's listen in.
No one's mad at you, not even the driver of the 13 truck. It's a product of Daytona Racing, and we came to win this thing. So we are sitting as the race leader on the final attempt of a green-white checkered. And I need you to nail the gas when I tell you to, and we're going to keep the left side tires glued to the yellow line.
That's some Dr. Phil stuff there, man.
That's Terry Cook right there. He's been here before. He knows what he's talking about.
He don't know how Johnny Sauter feels. He just knows that's exactly what John King needs to hear. Look at this lineup. You've got Ty Bodine with Joey Coulter right behind him. Those 4 players right there are the most important 4. They're really the only 4 with a chance to win this thing. Maybe Timothy Peters gives a push to John King, and then you got Joey Coulter pushing Todd.
How about Clay Greenfield and the job he's done right now running in the 6th spot?
There's always great stories out of Daytona, aren't there?
Sure are.
And we're looking to write another chapter into those great stories potentially tonight.
We have 2 Chevrolets running in the top 5 right now with Justin Lofton and Joey Coulter. You know, a Chevrolet has never won here. The only active track we race on that Chevrolet has not had a win.
Listen to Todd Bodine shutting that truck off and coasting, making sure he's got enough fuel to get there. He goes, starting it up.
The 13th race here at Daytona for the Camping World Truck Series. Tom DeLoach, the owner of Red Horse Racing.
He said, surely we could get a win here.
One of those trucks.
I believe that's a deep breath. Oh my goodness.
Tom may be watching us watching him.
One more attempt at a green-white checker. Red Horse Racing.
Have we got
currently
enough?
First, second, third.
Have we got enough gas, Rick?
That will be a big question. Can they go 2 more laps? We're about to get the answer to that question. The field making its way out of turn number 4. John King, Todd Bodine, 1 and 2. They make up the front row. Right behind John King, his teammate, Timothy Peters. He's won at this racetrack before. Can he make it 2 wins? We're about to find out. The field 2 by 2 coming into the tri-oval. Green flag goes in the air. John King, Todd Bodine, side by side for the lead.
Great start by Peters. He gets the push to King that he needs. Now Todd needs Joey Coulter to get there and get on the back of his truck.
The top 2 have separated themselves on the bottom line. Falling back is the 11 of Todd Bodine. Now they're 3 wide back there for the 5th position.
John King's doing a great job, as Terry Cook told him. Those left sides on the yellow line.
Along with Ty Dillon, he decides the outside line might be the way to go.
Look at Tom Bodine. He's coming back. He's got pushing from Joey Coulter, and they're making some ground.
Now moving off of the bottom of the racetrack as they come into the tri-oval.
Stay on the yellow line. They're trying to make something happen up top here. Stay on the yellow line.
Jason White, and around they go. That will bring the caution out as Joey Coulter goes flying into the catch fence just past the start-finish line, and that will mean John King will win at Daytona. The caution came out just as the pack made it past the start-finish line.
Maybe the least experienced driver we had in the field.
John, pass them. John, pass them. Slowly, gently pass them. Pass them, pass them, pass them, pass them, pass them. There you go. There you go. Slow it down now. Slow it.
What happened there? Did I guess John reduced his speed and some of the field didn't?
The caution came out. John obviously got out of the gas right away. And so you just heard his spotter, Terry Cook, telling him, okay, go ahead. You can pass him. Just pass him. You're in front.
We haven't heard from John King yet. I think he's still torn up about that.
There it is.
Or maybe he just can't talk.
That's John. Will it be sinking in yet? Now we're looking at the 22. Joey Coulter again up into the catch fence right in front of the grandstands.
I just hope he's okay.
This will be it.
Come here, get this checkered flag. That's all yours right there, my friend.
And the checker.
Get that checkered flag. Okay.
John King, a winner at Daytona International Speedway.
Stop right there. Stop right there, John. Just sit right there.
He's getting all these instructions. This is all new to him.
And let's go down to the winning owner. He's with Ray.
We saw a big breath and a sigh there. Did you ever believe this was possible?
No, never. This is unbelievable. Thank God for all he's given me and given this team. It's fantastic.
I know you've been to Victory Lane a few times, but how about Daytona? How's that going to feel?
Oh, we've been there with Timothy and Todd and now with John. All three of my drivers will have been to the Victory Lane in Daytona.
How about that? That's quite a thought. John King wins at Daytona. Do you believe it?
John King wins his first ever Camping World Truck Series race in just his 8th start. He becomes the 3rd driver to score his first career win at Daytona, and this is how it happened as far as the caution coming out. Look back in the middle there, the 22 of Joey Coulter.
A little bit of contact with the 31 of James Busher. Gets up into the catch fence, and man, does that catch fence do its job.
And of course, Ty Dillon slipped right through again. See Ty there in the truck with the bright neon orange, just slips right through. I'm just glad Coulter's okay. That was wild looking. See the way it ripped that back of that truck apart?
Well, it sure did. And the front.
James Busher in the 31 got into the back of that 22.
Watch this.
Well, look at that ride, will you? Is that Hornaday going underneath Joey Coulter?
Hornaday underneath the 22 of Joey Coulter.
Watch this from Ron Hornaday's onboard.
Okay, we got one ahead. I don't know.
Right underneath him. Right underneath him.
Underneath. How about Todd Bodine's view?
Did Ron Hornaday get in the back of James Busher and turn him sideways into the 22 of Joey Coulter?
Definitely somebody turned. Watch the 31 get turned.
29's their view now. White flag, middle of 3. Crashing ahead of you. Stay down. Get down. Come on. Joey's upside down.
I don't know if he just got in the speedy drive up there, Phil, or if maybe Ron got in the back of him. But there goes Coulter walking away.
Unbelievable. And the bow to the crowd. We have seen 2 amazing hits tonight, and both drivers walked into the ambulance. Now let's go to Hermie.
Timothy Peters, we've both been around this sport a long time. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything quite like that. Great night for Red Horse Racing. 1-2 finish. Congratulations.
How about John King? It's go back to Top Gun. You never ever leave your wingman, right? So I tell you, that awesome finish, Daytona, the fans. How about our Tire Kingdom Toyota Tundra? Toyota 1-2, Tom DeLoge, thank you for the opportunity. Joe Gibbs Engines, thank you, Mark Conquest, and everybody back at GE. Everybody worked their tails off. Butch Hilton, all these crews. I'm so happy for John, his crew chief, Chad, Todd. Way to go with him tonight with Good Sam. So great night for the organization.
Great night, top to bottom, from Red Horse Racing. Krista?
Back in the garage with Johnny Sauter, who could just about taste the Daytona victory. I heard you say, sorry, boys, I just couldn't hang on. Did you get help from behind?
Yeah, for sure. It was pretty substantial help too, and I just see the replay here. It just looks like he's crossing over here, and he's obviously getting help from the guy behind him. It's probably Bodine. He's known for driving a little bit over his head at places like this, but nonetheless, super proud of everybody on this Hot Honeys Curb Records Toyota. You know, we were in position, and I felt like we were in a catbird seat there, and you can see right there that I'm trying to do everything right, and I'm actually getting pushed the opposite way, but. Daytona's been an Achilles heel for me. For whatever reason, in the Truck Series, it's impossible for me to get to a finish. So I had no expectations going into the race today. And am I surprised that I'm standing here with a 24th place finish? No.
Thanks, Johnny. Hermie?
Travis Quaffle, didn't know you'd even be in this race till a couple of weeks ago. You guys come here with one truck. You got to get in on speed, end up with a third place finish. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. You know, all the credit goes to Robbie Benton and everybody at the RIB racing team with Brack Maggard. I mean, they brought me a really solid Toyota Tundra tonight, and we were happy to have Toyota Parts and Service on the side of it. We just kept it out of trouble, you know, and that was kind of our strategy. We knew we had a strong truck. Just make the right moves at the right time, stay out of trouble, stay in line when we needed to stay in line. The guys on pit road did a great job. Just really proud of everybody on this team. Like you said, it was a week ago, I think, is when I got the call. So come out here with a good top 5 finish. We're really happy.
That's Travis Quaffle. He used his experience to get this truck to the front at the right time.
Can you, to walk out of there with a third place finish with all the crashes and everything that happened, I bet you Travis says, okay, we'll take that.
Our DirecTV unofficial results. We give you the top 10 because NASCAR is going to continue to look at video and the scoring loops to fill out this top 10 as well as how everyone finished. Well, John King has made it to victory lane at Daytona. One of the most coveted pieces of land or real estate in all of racing. And it's John King, a 23-year-old from Tennessee, all smiles as he gets ready to climb out of that truck and celebrate for the first ever time in the Camping World Truck Series.
I've got to believe that in his wildest dreams, he would have never thought he would have ended up in victory lane.
Let's go down there.
Well, it is a Gatorade shower. The helmet's off. He comes out of that Red Horse Racing truck in just his 8th career start. 32 years ago this week, we saw the miracle on ice at Lake Placid. Today, we see the Cinderella story at Daytona. You ever even dream that this was possible?
Man, I'm a rookie. I'm not supposed to be here. Oh, my gosh. This is unreal. I tell you what. This Red Horse Racing team is unbelievable. From the owner to the tire guy, everybody does their job. I don't know what to say. It's a dream come true.
Congratulations, John King, not only the winner, he'll go out of here as the points leader. Hermie?
Well, Ty Dillon, you guys had such an up and down night. Up front, fell to the back, got to the front again. You were on pit road with only a couple laps to go. Got to be happy with a 7th place finish, given where you guys came from tonight.
Yeah, I really am. You know, going into this night, we knew it was going to be a wild race like that. We just we wanted to finish the race, and by able to finish the race, we got a decent finish out of it. We were just trying to play it cautious. It hurt us a little bit as far as putting us in a position to win, but we just wanted to finish this race. We knew a lot of the contenders would be taken out by just things that happened at Daytona. So I'm glad we got through it. I feel like we were a magnet. This Bass Pro Shops truck is so bright, it might attract some of those wrecks, but no, it was a great race. I'm thank God for getting me through it all. Some of that stuff, I don't know how I got through it. And it was a great truck. I could do whatever I wanted to, but we just played it safe, and we got a bigger picture in mind.
That's Ty Dillon. He gets a top 10. Rick?
Thank you very much, Hermie. And looking at the big picture already is Ty Dillon, and we've just completed the first race of 2012, and it's a 23-year-old rookie that is standing in victory lane right now celebrating.
And about speechless, I would say he was.
He said he didn't know what to say. But what's great finishes by Jason White with a top 5, who we thought maybe he had a shot to win. Chris Fontaine gets his best career finish in 7th. Ward Burton, in his first ever start, finishes in 8th unofficially.
What about Justin Lofton up inside that top 5 as well? You're right, Phil. Clay Greenfield down in the 10th spot. I love Daytona for that. You know, guys can come here, persevere, make it to the end, and get a good finish.
All the drivers from Red Horse Racing with big smiles on their face at the end of this one. A lot of wrecked race trucks, but in the end, it was John King grabbing his first ever win in the Camping World Truck Series. Now to Car Warriors.